always. And I would say to all of you who are listening later on the pod, thanks. So we got, I don't know where your head's at today, everybody. Let's see. Are you excited about tonight's college football playoff matchup? Is that the right way of describing it? Because we love the sport, but it hurts our soul, no doubt, as Noles to be watching Miami participating in the semifinals of the college football playoff. Is this about getting geared up to hate watch? Because the answer to that is sure, most certainly it is. I mean, that's for the vast majority of my listeners, the answer is absolutely it is. And so I recognize that. At the same time, if you remove one of the principal players from the game, can you, can you get excited about the matchup itself? Like that are you intrigued by the matchup itself? Because I am. I'm not going to lie. I absolutely am, because of the difference in style and the way that I think Miami wants to play the game as opposed to the way I think Ole Miss wants to play the game, and who will be successful in dictating terms. Miami has largely won. Well, we know why they've won. They properly built their team through the offensive and defensive lines, and a dominant defense they have. 16 sacks, 50-plus pressures, a bunch of tackles for loss. It's insane when you look at the numbers of the two wins that they have. It speaks to a dominant physical team. They're not winning because of a multi-million-dollar quarterback. In fact, they're hiding Carson Beck. Now, I wonder if some of that has been, if you look at yards per attempt, if you look at the types of passes they're calling, they're not asking him to win the game at all. And because he's prone to the turnover, and because they have a very good defense, I think Miami recognized, well, look, Texas A&M is not an offensive threat. Their quarterback's not good enough. If we keep him bottled up and shut down the running game, this will be a low-scoring game, which is the way we want to play it. I thought Miami's play calling in that game was suspect. Offensive coordinator, way too many, especially in the first half, way too many trick plays. But when it was nut cutting time, they ran the football. They ran the ball right at you, and that's what they relied on, along with a great defense.
I think in the Ohio State game, it was what Ohio State put before them, which was they're playing coverage. They were rushing the minimum amount on a given play.
Right.
They're dropping back into 2, 3, 4 deep at some times. And so the reads are easy for Beck when it's third and obvious. But then you can just run the ball right at them. It wasn't until the third quarter I know that they only scored 7 offensive points in the first half,
yeah.
But if you watch the game, you'd understand.
That's a lot of points out there.
It was very easy. It was laid out before Miami, and these were simple reads and simple things that they could execute on, so they didn't even need to break off of their default plan.
Well, it was interesting because Ohio State took control for a portion of the second half there. They start to take control of the game. Julian missed too many throws, first of all, and really didn't step up, and that's a problem for Ohio State. They were relying on their defense as well, and they have one of the best in the country, and I would too. But they got the game within the opportunity to steal it from Miami, and made too many mistakes, and obviously there's stuff in there that it could have gone either way. But Miami has been very smart in that they've wanted to run the ball, really rely on a beastly offensive line, make smart throws. The stat, it eludes me. I had it. It's like 5.6 yards per attempt. He's not throwing the ball down the field. They're not even trying. And so it's like, look, we can defend and we can get after the passer. We're going to make you one-dimensional. You're not going to go up and down the field on us. That's how they've played. And that's been smart because those two edge rushers have dominated the games. They're either getting pressure or they're getting their hands on the passer. And so they can fall back on that, and they want to play conservative. Miami wants to play conservative, but if they were to open it up tonight, and I think they could, this is a game where if you trusted Beck at all, you could let him throw because Ole Miss's defense is certainly susceptible. This is the worst of the defenses they will have faced by far in this run for Miami.
This is why tonight, I've been wrong on a lot of these games so far. I've been right on a couple, but the moment Georgia lost, I thought, oh, God, all right, so the winner of Oregon-Indiana is going to be the great hope. Could be wrong. Maybe Ole Miss is game tonight.
The winner of Oregon and Indiana will also, by the way, be the favorite to win the national championship.
Of course, but just now you're looking for the Dragon Slayer. And I thought Georgia would have been more equipped to bring the pressures necessary that Ohio State refused to do in order to force Beck to win the game, make a few throws to win the game. He didn't have to. The biggest play he made to win the game was a 3rd and 11 scramble in the fourth quarter. And he was able to get every bit that he needed to get to move the chains. But he never had to make a throw on 3rd and 11 or 3rd and 8 where you said, oh, wow, okay, nicely dialed up or nicely thrown. Ohio State didn't put him in that position. I think Georgia would have. I don't know that Ole Miss is capable of doing that. So, yeah, that's where unless Ole Miss gets out to a lead and they can set the tone of a track meet, there are some games where I don't think the first score matters. I think in this game it would, because it might set the pace and what it forces Miami to come out of if you were able to get up to 7-0, 10-3, something like that, if you're Ole Miss and set the pace. But if they get behind 10-0, oh, buddy, that's problematic.
Here's what I'll say about that, though. The wild card in that discussion, and specific to your point, is Trinidad Chambliss, who has been unreal. And you saw him get down, and they get down to a Georgia team whose defense was steady on the rise in the second half of the season, got a lot better the more they played together. They were relying on so many young players early in the season, and they got burned for it. As the year went on, those players gained experience and got better. And they started to look a lot like the Georgia teams we've seen in the past. Run up, hit you, play fast, violent. Didn't matter how young they were. So at 21-12, it's game, set, match. We're all thinking at home, at least most of us. And then Trinidad Chambliss, who is a streaky player, got really, really, really hot and looked like an NFL quarterback, making throws on the run, eluding defenders, making plays where there was nothing over and over again. In fact, if you look at Chambliss now, again, that game, it's a crazy game, 39-34, 362 yards passing is incredible. But he's had for the season, now this is how good he's been, 4,200 total yards, 29 touchdowns, and he wasn't even the week 1 starter. Think about that. 21-3 touchdown to interception ratio in the games that he has started, 3,660 passing yards. Buddy, that guy is a problem when he gets going. If he could watch tonight, this is what he's always done, and I do love watching him play. When he gets going, it's like, oh no, this is a video game. Like the computers decided to cheat here.
Yeah, the scramble throw in that game against Georgia is straight out of a video game where you'd say, all right, you're not even playing football. We're not even playing real football here.
Right. For people who are familiar with the college football game, occasionally when they want to make it interesting for whatever reason, and I don't know what the algorithm tells them to do and why, but in a game you're playing, if you throw an interception or make a poor play and they go down and score, it infuses this like momentum. And all of a sudden, the things that you were doing to disrupt whatever their offensive systems were now leads to a breakdown where the opposing quarterback is spinning around and making throws almost behind his back 40 yards downfield on a rope. And you're like, okay, I got to quell this now. Okay, fine. We're in dime. We'll drop everybody back. I got to slow this all. That's him. That's Chambliss. Like, it's insane to watch that guy get going because when he does, it's nuts. This is the other part about this is why I get excited. I was talking about those numbers a second ago. If you go back and watch Miami against Ohio State, neutralized Carnell Tate, couldn't stop Jeremiah Smith all that much. Nobody does. He's a difference maker in the biggest way. But there's nobody for Ole Miss that equates to that, right? That is that kind of a player. But one of the things that Ohio State struggled with, obviously, was the fact that Julian couldn't make Miami pay with his legs. And I will tell you that Chambliss, when he feels the heat, is obviously going to be able to extend plays and make some plays. And Miami hasn't had to deal with that.
I think one of the things that played into that game was rust versus being fresh. Ohio State just didn't look like they were up to speed in the beginning on either side of the ball. There are a couple of things that Miami did. I remember breaking this down before our game. So if I can see it away from the sport in terms of analysis, then surely Ohio State knows that some of these late developing pressures that are dialed up by Miami are a part of their game plan. Doesn't look like they're going to blitz, and then somebody shows late, a lot of times to the boundary. Here he comes. Sayan looked like he wasn't prepared for that in the first half, which was strange, but they didn't really need that too much because that front is inevitable. And that's the thing where I come back to.
Yeah, you get nervous about it.
Bain has decided to elevate. He already was really, really good, but he's decided to elevate because he knows that there is a humongous payday on the other side of this. Miami paid him well. The NFL will pay him better.
Yeah, he's going to
and
be a
here's your
top 5
moment.
pick.
And so does Mesidor. And Mesidor was the first guy to make a mark in that game against Ohio State by taking it over for stretches. And that's the thing. You got a guy on either side. I'm not saying that they're equivalently athletic as Chambliss if you're in a phone booth, but there's two of them. How many times can Chambliss get to the spot that he's looking to get, even when he's breaking off platform? Can he get to that spot? Can you do that consistently? You're going to need to do it consistently tonight.
Well, one thing that, Kevon Lacey's a really, really good player. In terms of the running game for Ole Miss, I'm not saying they don't have that other element. Miami's just neutralized everybody's running game, so I didn't look at him. I went straight to quarterback. Yeah. Because to me, that's the whole thing. Like, if you try to line up and run the ball against them, that's not going to work.
You're going to have off-platform, off-schedule plays being made by the quarterback, and can he elude those pass rushers with consistency enough to do it?
He did some special things in that Georgia game. He did some special things. Are you kidding me? Off your spot. Play extends, back to your left, over to your right, laser on a rope 40 yards. What are we doing here? That's no way to predict an outcome of a game. It's just an X factor. It's just to say, all right, Georgia did a lot of things right for a long time in that game until they couldn't stop him.
The other thing is he's in a really weird headspace because he hasn't been approved to come back to Ole Miss next year, which is a giant payday for him. He's agreed to come back to Ole Miss, whatever that's going to be, $5 million, somewhere in that ballpark, I imagine, because Ole Miss pays well. The NCAA hasn't ruled yet as to whether or not that's a thing. So in a weird way, he's auditioning for the NFL while also hoping he comes back to Ole Miss, but he doesn't know what his financial future is. So he's got every incentive to ball tonight too. But since he doesn't know what his future is he unsettled a little bit between the ears? That's where sometimes the things that affect you in life can make their way onto the football field. That has to be a desperate situation for him. I think they've had 3 or 4 filings to the NCAA at this point on his behalf to get an extra year.
He's made himself some money with the Georgia game alone, and if he plays great tonight, even if he doesn't get to come back, somebody will take a flyer.
Right.
Somebody will take a flyer because that kind of talent, to throw on the run like that.
Be in his position today. You're walking around and getting ready. If I ball tonight, I'm not just going to get paid by Ole Miss. The NFL is going to come pay me because they're going to see me do it to back-to-back defenses with studs.
Yeah, without question. If the game comes down to a kick, Ole Miss does have the advantage there. Lucas Carnero is 27 of 30 on the season, obviously made the 47-plus yard field goal against Georgia when they had to have it, and it didn't waver, did it? That was on a string. They do have that. If you're looking for a kick late, it's something. Miami, as I say, has really played largely conservative. Carson Beck has only thrown for a grand total of 241 yards in their 2 games. They're not asking him to do a lot, but Miami's defense, what's the stat? I wrote it down for my notes. They've given up in 2 games. They've only had 4 drives total in both games that were 50 yards of offense for the opposing team. That's a problem.
I think they are actually vulnerable in the secondary, but they just haven't.
Well, they get you behind the chains, and then you become predictable, and it's a little bit easier.
Ohio State was rusty. They found their offensive form in the second half. If that's the way they started the game, I think they win it. Also, you can't ignore the elephant in the room. That pick 6 matters. You're in the throes of the game. You're talking about a 10 or a 14-point swing on one play because somebody forgot to block at the snap.
I know, and it's one of those things where it affirms something that even though it's not the thing that it affirms, which is that me saying to you before that game, well, Julian Sands seems to throw 1 major interception every game for all the love that he gets.
Right. That's the result. Yeah, it's not his assignment. Somebody's got to do their damn job because if you look at the numbers they have, oh my God, not that I want to be Jimbo and say I was out the gate, but it's 1st and goal at the very least on that play. Instead, it's 6 for Miami, and you go, oh my God.
Well, as soon as that became 6 for Miami, you kind of went, they're going to win the game.
And they love to play. This is where you'd admire it if it wasn't their helmet. They love to play boa constrictor football. At that point that they're up 2, they're like, there's only so much time. We're going to move the chains. We're going to keep the clock moving.
Well, they run
can't
the ball
stop
with
it.
Fletcher.
Right. I don't need 10 more possessions. Give me 6 more possessions. And I doubt you can score enough because I know we're going to keep scoring at least once or twice more. So it just becomes a numbers game at that point. And that's where that play changed everything about the way that game felt.
And what you're hoping here, and I want to see it too, because simply put, it's the best way that Ole Miss can win the game. Secondarily, it's just real life drama. If Ole Miss gets up and Beck has to make plays, what happens? Because it's not as if he's gone his whole career without making plays. He made plenty of plays at Georgia to the point where he was immediately projected to be a first-round draft pick. There was enough on the bone, enough meat on the bone for all of us watching them play when he was there to say, oh, damn it, Georgia's getting even better. This kid's got an NFL arm. He's got – we saw a lot of NFL throws. Then the interceptions started. Then some of the confidence breakdown. Then Georgia's receiving corps didn't do him any favors. Then it gets ugly in the locker room and you hear that they don't like him. Then he's out the door. He goes to Miami. High profile, big money. Everybody knows his girlfriend. Then his girlfriend dumps him and, basically spits on him on social media. And then you have, Carson Beck isn't what you thought you paid for. They lose 2 regular season games. The pick he threw against SMU sure was disastrous. He didn't do himself any favors afterwards by going to the press and rolling his team under the bus, which he's done more than once. Now it didn't matter because their defense is great. They can run the ball. They're built the right way. They don't have to ask a lot out of them. But at some point, we want to see them have to rely on that dude and whether or not he can make those plays that he's made in the past, but they're not asking him to make now.
Yeah, and Georgia, I think, would have forced that. They would have forced that moment. And I don't know if they would have won independent of that because maybe they couldn't stop the run or maybe Miami's defensive line would control the game on that other sideline as well. But that storyline, too, would have it's such low-hanging fruit. Beck versus Georgia, that would have been great. Now, this Final Four is awesome. If you're just trying to say new blood in the system, this is great for that. The argument about parity in college football, even though there's not really, there's just some new halves.
A lot of new halves and a lot of, but also I do think there are certainly more seats at the table available.
There are, but it's not like anybody can get in. But it feels like that when Indiana's there in the Final Four. Like, anybody can do it. Well, still. But this game is still compelling, and I think tomorrow's game is even more compelling. If this was Alabama, Clemson, Georgia, and Ohio State, let's just say that was the Final Four, I'd be bored to tears right now. I'm not, because at least there are some new teams in here and new storylines.
Well, I think everybody and their brother thought Ohio State and Georgia were going to be playing in this game tonight.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about that. Miami's also, as much as I hate them, and I do, they're the first double-digit seed to make it to the Final Four. Last year's were 5, 6, 7, 8 seeds. So they're the first double-digit seed to make it there. And it's now, listen, we said it all year long, and I certainly said it after they beat us. Damn it, they're built the right way. Doesn't mean they're going to win because their coach can cost them, and he did. But they're built the right way. That's how you build. And his reputation has always been that of a great, intense recruiter and a terrible game manager who loses games that he shouldn't with the talent that he's able to recruit. So we'll see. Maybe he blows it tonight. The other guy is kind of a Cinderella story. I mean, the other guy, Golding, is like, he's elevated because of Kiffin's exit. Nobody even really knows who's doing the coaching over there right now. It's crazy that they're there. It's crazy that they're there.
Jimbo calling somebody gutless again.
Yeah. But I mean, right. That situation is bizarre. The game itself, yes, I think Miami is rightfully favored, but there are enough what ifs at quarterback with the head coach, a Cinderella at quarterback who was a Division II all-world quarterback that nobody thought was going to be the starter this year and wasn't to start the year, and then turned in a performance that has Ole Miss as a semifinalist with a chance to go, if they win, and play for the national title while their coach is at LSU.
And one thing to watch for tonight, it was lost in the shuffle in that first half, but Fletcher is their guy, but he will fumble. You got to watch that ball security.
Maybe you don't have to watch that ball security.
That's right.
Mr. Fletcher. You go ahead and let it fly all over the field. It's Jeff Cameron, Show 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Searching for the best place to host an event for your friends and family? The Golf Club at Summerbrook is more than just a place for a round of golf. It's also one of the best choices for hosting and celebrating the most special days in your life. From rehearsal dinners and baby showers to corporate banquets and kids' birthday parties, you'll receive amazing personal service and attention to every detail when you choose the Golf Club at Summerbrook. Find out how affordable it can be and call us today at 850-894-GOLF. That's 850-894-GOLF.
Craving something different? Discover the bold and surprising flavors of Peru at Café de Martín. From sizzling lomo saltado to savory handmade empanadas, every dish is made with heart, history, and soul. Crafted by classically trained Chef Martín himself. It's not just food. It's a trip to Peru without the plane ticket. Swing by Café de Martín today and taste the tradition. Café de Martín. Authentic Peruvian. Right around the corner.
You probably already know that Pinch a Penny Pools and Spas is your one-stop destination for all pool maintenance needs, offering everything you need from chemicals, cleaners, vacuums, nets, and more. But that's not all. Pinch a Penny also carries a huge selection of premium hot springs hot tubs paired with easy financing options, making these luxury hot tubs affordable for everyone. And if you have an older hot tub and you're worried about the hassle of removing it, worry no more. Pinch a Penny will not only remove and haul away your old hot tub, but also offer a trade-in value for a credit towards your new one. So why wait? Visit Pinch a Penny's 12,000 square foot showroom today on Greer Road and discover how effortless and affordable owning a fantastic hot tub can be. Find out more at TallahasseeHotSpring.com. That's TallahasseeHotSpring.com.
T-Spark Enterprises, roofing and construction services. T-Spark, T-SparkConstruction.com. We conquer all peaks, we fix those darn leaks. Call 850-766-1340. T-Spark Enterprises, roofing and construction services. T-Spark, T-SparkConstruction.com.
License number CCC 1331204.
Barry knows cool, he's keeping you comfortable. Barry knows cool, you can put him to the test. Barry knows heating and air conditioning, keeping you comfortable. Here's what Barry does best.
No matter how busy life gets, your home is the place where your family and friends show you they care and celebrate with you. That's why the professionals at Barano Heating and Air Conditioning always make sure your home is comfortable. Just like those who matter to you most, Barano will always be there for you.
This is Tyler from Barano Heating and Air. Now you can schedule an appointment, purchase or renew your service agreement, or pay your bill from your mobile device. Any day, anytime, anywhere. When you turn to the experts at Carrier and Barano Heating and Air. Online at baranoac.com.
Florida license number CAC 1816186.
Barano Heating and Air Conditioning.
From the championship stage to coaching change and everything in between, Warchant.com remains your home for the best FSU football coverage in the business. Brutally honest columns and features, market-leading multimedia presence across video and podcast, the largest FSU fan community with a staff that combines for over 100 years of experience covering the Noles. When change comes, Warchant.com is your home for analysis from every angle. Warchant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source. Sign up today.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Just jumped over to the chat to say hello. See you all's in here. And I see Brett says, with every running back coming onto campus, I get nervous that Croma or Singleton is going to leave or headed to the portal. Well, you're referencing the fact that there is a running back on campus currently for Florida State. In fact, today is not a day that would move the needle for you if you're a portal watcher. If this is your cup of tea, if you're loving this and you can't wait to hear more good news or some good news, any good bit of good news regarding the portal, you would say, okay. So the Pitt linebacker has not agreed to a visit and looks like he's off to Michigan. So you kind of publicly made it known that you wanted Rasheem Biles, obviously, and you were right to want Rasheem Biles. That is a good target to go after and somebody that I'd hoped that we could get. The problem is, as I sit here today, and it could change, I'll grant you that, but as I sit here today, you couldn't even get a visit from the young man. He's not scheduled to be here. He's not here. He hasn't been here. You can't get him on campus.
Yeah, the one thing I'd say is he's definitely not here. He might have been scheduled to be here, but, he's
not here, Tom.
Getting people to arrive is important.
Yeah, so he hasn't arrived. He's not here, and he's off to Michigan.
You can't arrive without being here.
That's true. That's correct. So you couldn't get that guy, and that ain't good because you need to start getting, some defensive players. I'm starting to get slightly concerned. I don't care that we have Treyon Webb here on campus. In fact, I would ask, why is he here on campus? Why are we talking to the former Florida oft-injured running back? Why are we talking to him? Why? For what reason would he be here? With all of the other holes to fill, why are you talking to him? You just brought in the Texas running back. You already have Singleton and Croma. You have running back
Amari
is
Thomas,
not running back is not the issue. Stop wasting our time with that. Now, the Auburn offensive lineman was here. I guess he was here this morning, so I take it back. They've had a kicker and a running back here today. And I guess the former Auburn offensive lineman finished his visit this morning, as I understand how the day has gone. That's who's been here. That's who they have on campus today so far. Correct me if I'm wrong, and I might be, but that's what I understand.
Where we're at.
Anybody else find that problematic? What are we doing? I mean, that is not, just for the record, that is not me being negative. That is, honestly, what are we doing? We got a lot of holes to fill, man. Time is of the essence.
Especially if the DeSears bolt.
Well, I'd like to hear that bit of good news here soon, and I'll cross my fingers that we will. I don't know what's going to happen with that situation. Looked like we had made some progress last night, from what I had heard.
Oh, buddy, it's a roller coaster. Every 6 hours or so, optimism, pessimism.
Well, as it pertains to the DeSears, whenever the news comes down, obviously we'll talk about it. It'd be a shame to lose them, to say the least. At the same time, I mean, you'll have to fill me in on the particulars there. That's your cup of tea over there with that one. I have a loose understanding of the comings and goings of the DeSears at this point. But
if cup of tea is defined as you prefer it, I don't know about that. But it is the cup of tea that's in front of me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you'll let us know when it happens. But as far as
maybe, they might be in some sort of negotiation into March, and the portal window doesn't matter a bit. I don't know. It feels like it's never going to end at this point.
So hopefully they retain them, but we're going to need some news on the defensive front with as much as they have to replace. And I'm not solely talking about starters here. I'm talking about quality depth on both sides of the ball. We bring this up a lot. Let's see. I mean, on the offensive line, at least, you've had some movement. You've been able to get some guys, the Paul Bowling kid. Again, I said it a couple days ago, I think. If that's the kid that Brent Key wanted at Georgia Tech, then I'm going to trust that might be a real good get. I don't know that. I haven't seen him play. Didn't watch Troy. I will. I've gone back and looked at PFF grades and seen some highlight reels, but I haven't really watched a lot of him. But if they wanted him, again, I have that much respect for what Brent Key has done with their offensive line. I'm not even talking about the program, which he's obviously done a good job with, but the offensive line. All right. I'm going to trust he knows what he's looking at there.
And he's a true sophomore. It's not like you're getting a grad assistant, grad assistant, listen to me, a grad student who has peaked and he's not good enough for the NFL, so he's going to ride one more time and maximize his revenue in college. This is a totally different situation there. whereas the Purdue transfer is more of the latter category.
Yeah, the Purdue transfer didn't do anything for me. Another body.
It's to help you battle 4 for 3 in the interior right now, unless somebody else emerges. But at minimum, right now you have 4 for 3. That's a good. But you want to have that at multiple positions where there are too many. There are too many potential answers, which fosters the competition that you're looking for.
Yes, you do. And stop wasting your time with running backs on campus here. Let's turn our attention away from. I don't want necessarily Trayon Webb. I don't. If they get him, whatever. You've got bigger fish to fry right now than worry about running backs, and especially since you just signed one. You just signed another one. And I know what we paid Cromah. I also know what I saw from Cromah, and it wasn't nothing. I liked him. I thought he played hard. I thought he played to his size. I think he's a bruiser who needs the ball. I think he's a bell cow. I think he's a guy you got to feed.
Yeah, rhythm guy. Yep.
Yes. I think you got to feed him.
No rhythm has been established in the last 2 years in that running back rotation, which means it's a Mike problem.
Well, ultimately the head coach can step in and say, stop doing this.
Look, Gus's track record says one thing. Mike's from 2024 said another. In 2025, it looked exactly like the previous season. So to me, that's a Mike problem, not a Gus problem. And you're right. Either way it is, because Mike could override Gus if he said, some point, I want to rotate guys. I want to try something new.
I want 7 different guys.
I doubt he did. I don't know. What should we do, Mike? Let's try to give everybody 3 touches, Gus. What do you say?
Do you think they talk to one another?
I don't know.
I don't either. But I do like that the banner on warchant.com that I saw earlier today has a preseason baseball story. And I can run into the arms of some preseason baseball, baby. It's Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
A young man is hospitalized with injuries after a shooting. This continued growth and community unity. This is Rachel Lene with Real Talk 93.3 Local News Update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Highs around 77 this afternoon under mainly cloudy skies, winds out of the south 5 to 10 miles per hour. Mainly cloudy skies expected with fog in spots tonight. Lows level off around 57. Mainly cloudy skies expected and foggy early tomorrow. Daytime highs approaching 77. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Currently, it's 67 degrees.
After a storm, portable generators are a helpful temporary solution until power can be restored. Remember, 20-20-20 to keep safe while using a generator. Keep your generator 20 feet away from your house. Wait 20 minutes for the generator to cool down before refueling. Purchase a $20 carbon monoxide detector to protect you and your family. For more tips on hurricane safety, check out the Hurricane Guide at floridadisaster.org/guide. This message is sponsored by the Florida Division of Emergency Management, the Florida Association of Broadcasters, and this radio station.
Hey, Jeff, what's up, buddy? I was just thinking, they never tell you that when you grow up, one of the things that you'll miss are the games that you created with your friends in the neighborhood. Oh, good days. So I would have my buddy come over, and then we'd make up these games that were kind of like a hodgepodge of every game that you've ever played. Kind of like the bikes we built. Correct. Yes. And it's a grand experiment. In the beginning, nobody knows how to play the game, and you argue about what the rules are going to be. And in the end, everybody knows how to play the game. By the end of that summer, you know the rules, the neighborhood know the rules, and you play that game like it's the greatest game ever played. But
and they still try to break the rules, right?
Oh, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. But at the end, Eddie, you're never going to play it again, and you'll think about it the rest of your life.
And the best game you ever played was that game.
Never been a better one.
Hey, you want to have a Gordo Smash, Jeff?
I do. I'd like that. Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
You had a double click, didn't you? Because that thing will do it sometimes.
It will. Well, it also fired the next break.
That's what I mean.
So, yeah,
I had that happen one day when you weren't here, when I was working that side of the glass, and somebody accused me like, "Oh, you heavy-handed. What's wrong with your forefinger?"
You heavy-handed, four-flushing son of a gun.
I'm like, "No, man, I clicked the button and it just fired everything." Like, no, that's your crazy heavy finger.
No, the mouse darted up. It was like a tiger Chip back in his first comeback.
Oh, man, that is a crazy window in time. A little snapshot that he did overcome.
There we go. I think it actually knocked us out, but we're back on. So there we go. I fixed it.
How did it knock us out by running in that?
No, because the brake shuts off the board. So I think all is good
goodness
now. Hello,
gracious.
Tallahassee.
What a weird.
YouTube had this whole thing. They got to see the whole thing.
Well, they're probably just rolling their eyes at us.
They're hitting that shrug emoji.
We should probably have days where you could just leave that on the screen.
And then we're talking behind it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Just leave it on the screen. People are going to draw their own conclusions. He's too pie in the sky. He's too negative. All right. So you might as well just put the shrug emoji up there. Like, have it be. You know what you could put up there instead? Some Redemption Thursday wagers, my friend. Let's throw a little Redemption Thursday wager
They're
action.
going to be on the scrolly scroll.
Okay. So you get my 4-bet parlay on the scrolly scroll.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'll tell you this. You'd be proud of me. We were, working this morning, looking at a lot of different things, and I realized today was, in fact, Redemption Thursday. At this time of the year, the pickings are slim, and yet I put together for us a little wild card weekend 4-bet parlay, which I can tell you at home, Tom Lang here in studio, you all like that 4-bet parlay.
I like them.
You're betting that 4-bet parlay. You see the wisdom in that 4-bet parlay. You say, you know what? I see you, Jeff Cameron.
You remember when Michael Smith and Jamel Hill were a part of the car wash? Like you had to go see them because they were one of the top dignitaries.
Well, that was the whole Jimbo moment.
That's where that moment's from. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
See, the thing is, you dip the peanuts in
the
Dr.
peanut in the
Pepper.
soda. In the soda. I like it. Mm-hmm. You did. Travis Etienne, over 63.5 yards rushing. Married with Justin Herbert, over 25 yards rushing. Married with A.J. Brown, over 65 yards receiving. Married with a Jordan Love touchdown total of over 1.5. You get that 4-bet parlay at plus 944. At least I did this morning. That's what I got. Now, once this becomes public from yours truly, it could change the odds. Who knows? But plus 944 is what we were getting at this morning. I also took Miami Ole Miss at the over 51.5. Over 51.5. The defense is the dominating factor for Miami. And you might say, why'd you take the over then if you have questions about Beck? And Miami's modus operandi is to run the ball with Fletcher, and their dominant skill is the defense. It feels like there's magic in the air with this Ole Miss team, and this Chambliss kid is fun to watch, and I'm looking for a little of that magic.
You're going to call him Moonlight Chambliss.
I am. I'm just looking for, look, those first two games, Miami's defense hadn't seen a skill set like the one that Chambliss has. Because the problem is the Texas A&M kid can run around. Terrible passer. This here is a little bit different, Tommy. A little bit different. There's magic. There's a little FU magic to what Ole Miss is doing here. Like maybe they're angry enough to win it all in the wake of Lane leaving, even though Lane would laugh all the way to the bank because he gets the bonus money as well from these wins.
What's my wish, Ray Kinsella? You fake the jet sweep to the left. You roll out to the right. The defender's right at your feet. You let the ball go. It's in the air.
Yeah.
And it's caught in the end zone for a touchdown.
That's my wish. Magic in the moonlight.
Is there enough magic? Let's see. They're playing in the Fiesta, right? So, yeah. Is there enough magic?
Yeah.
in the desert moonlight.
Yeah, to win it.
That's my wish, Reagan.
Oh, man. I woke up this morning, scrounged around looking for my Archie Manning jersey, singing Hotty Toddy. I did neither because I don't know the words to Hotty Toddy, and I don't have an Archie Manning jersey. But if I did, I would have.
I wonder if maybe in the future they might reassign bowl locations if something happens like this. Oregon, Indiana, because of the bracket, are fixed to Atlanta, and Miami and Ole Miss are fixed to the Fiesta Bowl out in Arizona. I wonder if maybe they're going to allow themselves the flexibility to put Indiana, Oregon out there in the Fiesta Bowl, and next time put Ole Miss, Miami, and Atlanta. Anyway, that's neither here nor there.
Tom, I just now saw your post here in the chat, so I'll read it because I didn't.
The non-update update?
Yeah. So no Pitt linebacker, but more freaking running backs and tight ends. Got it. Makes perfect sense. Maybe one of the doctors at TMH can play linebacker for us. Fire everyone, starting with our president. Tom's upset. Tom's frustrated.
McCullough catching strays. At some point, it keeps going higher and higher.
Well, can I tell you this?
Oh, you got some tea?
No, I had a conversation.
Spill it.
In which I said in this conversation, well, we talked about this conversation. We talked in this conversation about the idea that now I don't want people to get into whether they liked him, didn't like him, that sort of thing. But I said, do you think that it would be ringing a little more true and hit home a little bit more if this current situation that sees Miami playing for the right to go and play in the national championship game, would that hit harder today if TK Wetherall were the president at Florida State still than it is currently with the president at Florida State, who's done a great job from an academic standpoint in elevating where Florida State's at academically. But I don't know how, and from what we've been told, how hands-on he is regarding athletics, how passionate he is. He understands the vital importance of athletics. Every sitting president at a university of a Power 4 conference certainly has to know that. So I'm going to assume he's well aware that it matters that your big-time programs succeed. There's a financial implication to all of this, so I'm sure they're aware. Also helps drastically improve enrollment. There are all these reasons you
want to be able to reject a bunch of kids, because if you can, you go up in the rankings.
That's right. So this is kind of, but I feel like if you had, and I'm not knocking the current president at Florida State, what I'm saying is I feel like if you had an outwardly and very vocal pro-athletics president, that they would be a little bit peeved at the current situation as your arch rival is marching through the playoffs and you can't get your head out of your ass here in Tallahassee annually while we play college football, despite being, a blue blood, if you will.
Well, I think it's important there that even though he was a part of that statement that was released, remember that thing? And it promised fundamental change. It's the board that's tied to athletics more than the president himself. That's the way it's been. That's the way it's been. Formally, it's been that way a long time, but formally in the history of Florida State, since the lawsuit, since the lead up to the lawsuit, since talking tough about TV revenues and relative earning potential of the ACC versus the SEC and Big 12, right. Big 10, excuse me. That was Peter Collins' moment to enter the fray as a leading figure in athletics, not just a board chair for the university. The president hasn't had that moment other than a couple of Zoom calls where he might have been reading prepared statements to announce lawsuits and to announce Florida State's position. I don't know if that's a good thing to have a president who meddles in athletics.
I'm not saying that it is. I just asked aloud, if this one was, would this sit with you, make you feel a certain way? I know it would have with TK. I'm not saying, hey, this guy isn't as good as TK or is worse or TK. I'm not. That's not what this is at all. I'm just saying, given what tonight is, what we as Noles are all watching take place right here in our backyard, and what we're going to be watching tonight in prime time on the tube.
Well, I think it all comes down to when you're evaluating as a top leader, the people underneath you. whether it's a sales position or the athletic department or an academic department, you can't lose your key clients, and still be held in the same regard, right? Like if it was a sales position, we know this from the meetings that we've been in over the years. If you had a rep who worked for you and they lost 3 out of 5 of their keys and they don't have replacements for them, suddenly their standing in the company is reduced, significantly.
Sure. Yeah.
The key client for the athletic director is football. There's a lot of success that's happening, but weight the total grade.
Of course.
20% of your grade is homework. 80% of your grade is the test. Football is the test. That's 80% of the grade.
Without question.
That the president is appreciating that in this moment, I don't know. That he's been told economic realities and they've chosen the path that they've chosen, and so we got to sit tight for a year. To a president, a year is not that long. To a fan base, it's eternity. And I think that might be at play here a little bit too.
Oh yeah, there's a lot. It's nuanced. It's not black and white. I agree. I'm not trying to just be short-sighted. It's just, obviously, it may have even been rhetorical. I just wonder what that would have sounded like behind closed doors on a day like today, where obviously we've talked a lot about roster management, building, program building, the future of the sport, which direction it's headed, identifying missteps, learning from mistakes, improving your lot in life after having learned from those mistakes, investing in the right areas. These are all things that a lot of people are rightfully debating as we sit through this debacle and we watch one of our rivals who was way behind at the time that he got there, meaning Mario Cristobal, to where we stand today.
I think one of the things that people might be hearing from us, and you've been covering this program and knowing how the sausage is made a lot longer than me, but they might be hearing the fatigue in our voices about inefficiencies that have predated Mike's time here. They predated Willie's time here. Jimbo screamed about it, but he didn't know how to handle it in the best way.
Oh, no.
Bobby's time here, obviously, in the lost decade, not the most efficient. The processes behind the scenes, maybe that's what they're hearing a little bit of. I've been around it now 16, 17 years, so maybe that's part of what this moment is. It's not just about what's happening in front of our face. It's that, man, we have been succeeding.
We've been achieving in spite
of some things that it just feels like could be done a little bit more efficiently. Now, maybe that's something that happens in every athletic department.
I was about to say, I think that there are flaws in every athletic department that if you were to cover them on their beat or work amongst that group that does, you would hear from, you would hear about.
But would they be about football? If the school cared about football?
In some cases, I think they would be. In some cases, I'm sure the fine folks that cover the University of Florida are looking at each other quizzically left and right, given the fact that they're routinely firing their coach.
And they're getting basketball right, so that probably drives the football people mad all the more.
Great, kicking ass in basketball.
Like, I could understand it if you're a football school and the basketball coach isn't happy. Like, actually, that's kind of to be expected if football is where you put all the eggs in the basket. But it's just, maybe it's also because I've now been here 20 years this month. And the lost decade plus this patch we've gone through from the end of Jimbo's time to now, there's been a lot of moments where you feel like rather than the way that Florida State felt when I was a kid growing up watching them.
Right. What they would tell you at Florida State, I believe, is right, Tom. That's right. You're right. We're trying to take steps to remedy those problems. And it can't happen overnight. We've made the changes that we've made. We're making the decision to go a different route in the hopes that long-term we start to rectify the things that have plagued this program for the better part of 10, 20 years. That's what they would tell you. Now, where there may be some truth to that. What we would argue is the nuance. Yeah, but I'm not sure you're going about it the right way. And there was evidence, by the way, that told you we should have begun this process, A, a long time ago, and B, some of your presupposing about what this was going to be, many people tried to tell you it's not. And now this is the result of that.
And so now it's more than 2 fingers to my eyes, 2 fingers back to you about, okay, so you get to make the next decision also? Right. Yeah.
There's a lot of that, man. And
now you could distract us by fixing the Wi-Fi. You could dangle that carrot.
So fixing the Wi-Fi would be an invasion of another country. That's what fixing the Wi-Fi would be, right? It's like,
nothing to see here.
That's what we got to do. I just don't know. It's interesting, Tom, because I do think there is some of that there, straight up, that's fine. That you recognize the sport's changing. We need to make some changes. My frustration, where we talk about this a lot, was, hey, man, part of the problem you have is, wins and losses have an effect on the overall psyche of a fan base. Certainly they do in the locker room for the players that are playing the games.
Clearly on Mike.
They do on the coaches. They do, and so it's one thing that in theory you can say, well, we're going to have to just work our way through this. We'll fix the bugs and we'll work towards an ultimate solution. But when you're doing that while steady losing games, there is a reaction to that, and it's visceral. It's going to be in ticket sales, going to be in the overall, the public discussion, you name it.
I think on this date in the calendar, the frustration is you told us through two statements that, all right, we're on it. We got it. We understand. We got it. Where's the urgency that followed those words? Because it has not felt urgent.
Yeah, so you could say, I don't believe you. Mm-hmm.
The moment that John Garrett said, well, I'm just playing catch up, I was like, oh, God. If there was one thing as a PR agent I would tell you cannot say I'm playing catch up. You can't do it.
Hour number 2 forthcoming. Stay with Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
It's where you raise your kids, where friends become family, where every corner has a story worth telling. It's your neighborhood. At ABC 27, we share those stories, bringing you news that connects communities, builds pride, and reminds us we're part of something bigger. We are ABC 27, in your neighborhood.
This is Shannon Young with Cross Country Mortgage. You've probably heard the saying, marry the house, date the rate. Here's what that means. If you love the home, do not wait on the perfect interest rate. You can always refinance later, and I can help you plan for that from day one. In fact, a lot of homeowners I worked with last year are refinancing right now and saving hundreds each month. Others are using the equity in their homes to invest, buying second homes or rental properties that are already building wealth. So whether you're looking to lower your monthly payment, get cash out, or start an investment portfolio, let's talk strategy. I'll walk you through your options and find the smartest financial move for where you are right now. You can find me at loansforknowles.com. That's loansforknowles.com. You can reach me at 954-369-6171. That's 954-369-6171. I'm Shannon Young with Cross Country Mortgage, and I want to help give you the keys to your next opportunity.
Hey, this is for my homeowner friends out there. You know who you are. When you get your grass cut, you're going to inspect the work, make sure it's good, get your house painted, check around every corner and edge, make sure that's done right. Get a new roof, got to get eyes on those shimmering new shingles. Get your septic tank cleaned. Bet you're not popping your head down in there to take a look around. You got to trust it's done right. I'll make it easy. Go see my friend Greg Miller Septic. They're my guys. I trust them, and you can too. MillerSeptic.com. That's it. That's the commercial. That's the whole thing. Check them out. That's MillerSeptic.com.
Are you sporting around with a cracked windshield? That's not your car's way of showing character. At Seminole Auto Glass, we replace busted glass faster than you can say, was that a rock, a bird, or a banana? We'll help you with your claim. We offer mobile service, and we promise zero judgment, no matter how that crack got there. Just go to SeminoleAutoGlass.com or give us a call at 850-539-4527. 850-539-4527.
Duct tape is not a long-term solution.
Better call Seminole.
Love to compete on the dartboard? Then it's time to head to the CP. The Corner Pocket Bar and Grill is Tallahassee's premier dart bar, featuring steel tip boards and soft tip internet play. The Corner Pocket hosts leagues and tournaments regularly. Just check out their social media to find a time that works for you. And in between games, grab a pint and a bite in the cool AC, or enjoy yourself outside on the deck. Whether you want to catch a game or start one of your own, the place to be is the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, 2475 Appalachie Parkway. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Coming up next, more of the Jeff Cameron Show. Live and local on Real Talk 93.3. WVFT. Gretna, Tallahassee. Your sports flash update on Real Talk 93.3 in Tallahassee.
Jacksonville Jaguars football quarterback Trevor Lawrence was able to finish out the year being named the FedEx Air and Ground Player of the Week for his Week 18 performance, where he finished out the game 22 of 30 for 255 yards, 3 passing touchdowns. The Jaguars, who are on a roll right now, hope to continue that into the postseason. They are going to play host to the Buffalo Bills. That's going to be coming up on Sunday. There had been some discussion about whether or not the belief was that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers will be bringing back head coach Todd Bowles. Well, he tells the Tampa Bay Times that he is going to be back as the head coach of the Buccaneers next season. There are going to be some changes, though, to his coaching staff. This Sports Flash is presented by Progressive. Bundle auto and home, renters, or condo insurance and save with Progressive. I'm Matt Pauley on Real Talk 93.3.
Kohl's new clearance markdowns are intense. Up to 70% off is the kind of deal that'll leave you feeling stunned and make you whisper things like, "Where have you been my whole life?" to a cardigan. Just take a deep breath, steady your cart, and try to act normal. But it's not possible. The savings are just too good. Shop new clearance markdowns now, in-store and online at Kohl's. Select styles, some exclusions apply. See store or kohls.com for details.
Progressive's accident response can detect and send help when you need it most after a major car accident. But other accidents, you're on your own. Like when you accidentally call your wife Mom. When you accidentally say Happy Holidays on someone's birthday. When you accidentally wave at someone you thought was waving at you. We can't help with those accidents, but Progressive's accident response provides peace of mind after major car accidents. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Limited availability in California. Driver is responsible for emergency and towing charges not covered by the policy.
Where is the best place to find Michelin, Firestone, Dunlop, Goodyear, and Bridgestone tires? Nice Tire and Auto Service. Where's the best full-service auto center? Nice Tire and Auto Service. They do everything from computerized alignments to brakes, tune-ups, and safety inspections. Where can you get complete auto service you can trust? That's easy. Nice Tire and Auto Service. 4792 Bluntstown Highway, just west of Capitol Circle.
Tired of calling 1-800 numbers just to get put on hold? Flush those numbers down the drain and call Terry West Plumbing and Septic Services, now offering Terry's Toilets, providing clean, reliable porta potties for any job site, special event, or backyard party. Real local people doing real work. No robots, no AI, no call centers. For all your septic services and portable restroom needs, one local call wipes away the competition. Call 850-510-8558. That's 510-8558. Or visit terrywestplumbing.com. When you call, we answer.
T-Spark Enterprises, roofing and construction services. T-Spark, T-SparkConstruction.com. We conquer all peaks, we fix those darn leaks. Call 850-766-134. T-Spark Enterprises, roofing and construction services. T-Spark. TSparkConstruction.com.
License number CCC 1331204.
Pay-per-view fights can ring up big bills, especially since in the Octagon there is one every few weeks. That's why the Seventh Hill Tap Room right downstairs from Corner Pocket Bar and Grill carries every single fight. Plus, unlike most pay-per-view bars, there's no cover charge. And drink specials too, like $3 select domestic beers and more. And if you enjoy international soccer, Seventh Hill opens early. $2 mimosas on Sundays, anyone? The Seventh Hill Tap Room, 2475 Appalachia Parkway, just downstairs from Corner Pocket Bar and Grill.
Broadcasting live from Florida's capital city, this is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on Real Talk 93.3. Now, stop what you're doing and listen closely. It's time for the Jeff Cameron Show in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
for the semifinal playoff game, or are you subdued? What's the angle you take here for a big semifinal college football game? I've missed football these last couple of days. I'll be honest with you. I've needed my fix. I've been scratching my arms. I've needed the football. I haven't enjoyed these down days. We had that stretch that was amazing, 40 some odd days, and you're like, yes. And then you take it for granted. But absence makes the heart grow fonder. And even a day or two where you're like, we don't have nothing, man. I ain't got nothing out here. I can't do this. I've enjoyed a little bit of the NHL, of course, with our Lightning. I've enjoyed a little bit of college basketball, just a little bit. But I haven't been ready to turn a new page, turn over a new leaf. I haven't been able to do it yet. I'm still stuck in football, as I should be. It's wild card weekend. We're good to go.
I would say that for the football-loving public, to be able to tack these things on to where you have 5 consecutive days of football for the highest stakes, it's great. We've missed it for a couple of days, but Thursday, Friday, all the way through Monday Night Football, that you have that many games across 5 consecutive days is a nice weekend. And I think it's because of this specific Final Four this year in the college football playoff. I'm telling you, in the couple of years that they've had the playoff, well, shoot. I mean,
since they expanded to 12?
Well, no, even in the playoff era for the 10 years, it's mostly the same teams. And then when they went to 12, it's mostly the teams that you kind of expected were going to be there because it went chalkish, even though they had auto bids last year. I was bored. There were too many games, and it bled too far. College bled too far into the NFL time on the calendar. So I was disinterested in last year's Final Four. I was disinterested in the championship game. I mean, I watched it, but Ohio State, Notre Dame, I kind of felt like I knew what was going to happen in that game. It was boring. I felt like Notre Dame, Penn State was interesting because it was just two bludgeoning teams going against each other, but I didn't think either of them was capable of winning the national title.
And they weren't.
So a lot of times with the college football playoff, I'm like nonplussed. This year's different. I'm looking very much forward to tonight. I'm looking very much forward to tomorrow. That might be my favorite game of the weekend, is tomorrow's game between Oregon and Indiana. I think second place might be Buffalo and Jacksonville on Sunday, and then the rest of the NFL slate.
I have also enjoyed the fresh blood. I wish one of those names was not the University of Miami, because it holds a mirror up to the problems we have here in the proper way to build the program. And I'm not just talking about the money. I am talking about the emphasis on recruiting the lines of scrimmage specifically. That is how they are winning. If this were Cam Ward-led Miami, I wouldn't say that as much. It would be true, but Cam Ward was special. He had a great season, an all-time. He was great. This is a quarterback who they ask to be average, and he is. They win because they run the ball and they stop people from running the ball. They physically beat your ass in the trenches.
I think beyond the feelings part of it here with the rival, if that team, the way it plays, had UCLA's gear on or Michigan State's gear on,
that'd be great.
You'd like them.
I've said it.
Yeah. I know you have.
Yeah. This is what bothers me. What bothers me is I like and respect the way they play the game. They have dudes that I beg. Well, we lost out on many of them that I was begging for us to get. It's you're like, that's a difference maker. It changes games when you have an NFL. Hey, we didn't have to postulate that out of nowhere. Jared Verse changed football games in ways that the statistics could not measure.
Yeah, because people were mad about the lack of sacks in the beginning of the 23 season.
Dumb people were mad about that. Dumb people who don't know football were mad about that. It's the same dumb sons of bitches who were talking about Jalen Ramsey's not effective because he doesn't have interceptions in college.
I did not know that would really hit you.
Dumbasses. I hate listening to dumb people. But anyhow, yes, noted. Dumbasses thought that. But Jared Verse changed football games. They couldn't block them. It was often taking two. Oh. So they had to all their protection shifts.
The first half of the LSU game was great because they said, let's pay attention to Verse and we'll go one-on-one with Fisk. And within 3 drives, they realized, well, we can't do that. So what do we do now?
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah. That was
what everybody found out by the end of the year.
First play of the game. Fisk destroys that kid.
Oh, Louisville. Yes.
Yeah.
Did I say Louisville? I'm sorry. I meant LSU.
Well, no, but LSU as well was eye-opening. Remember that?
Yeah. No, he took over the first few drives.
You're like, oh, well, that
we get a fourth down stop because of the one busted play, the busted coverage we have, and the miscommunication at the linebacker level. Stop me if you heard that before. But they realized early, okay.
Yeah, they got some dudes.
So we thought we got to worry about 5. Now 55 is a humongous problem. Yeah.
No, what it was, hey, look, man, they've got some dudes. And now this changes everything. I'm a broken record on this side.
You like the way Miami plays.
I really do. I hope they lose by 100 tonight.
Yep. But when they get to 3rd and 3, they'll run it more than they want because they're not afraid to go on 4th and 1 and run it again.
It drove me nuts. The game against Texas A&M, obviously they thoroughly dominated A&M's offense. That was a joke. But yet A&M could have won the game because Miami's offense was non-existent. I thought they played stupid in the first half. I don't know what their OC was doing, but the point would be this. Somewhere in there, they realized, and I think it was their head coach, who's made a lot of mistakes in game, but has had a lot of hits in recruiting, said, we're going to line up and we're going to run the ball. We've got grown-ass men up here that we're paying well. I built this team to do this for this moment. What travels? What travels is the running game. What travels in inclement weather, on the road where noise is a problem, what travels? Bludgeoning bitches is what travels. And they lined up and went, here we go. The biggest drive of the year, the whole reason we're here, and I'm going to run the ball. And you can't stop it. And they couldn't. And that was a good defense, led by a head coach who is a very good head coach in defensive mind.
That's where I won't break down our game with them so much, but when watching them play Florida early in the season, and that was a bit of a rock fight offensively, the Miami and the Florida game. And Florida had a chance to win that game down the stretch. Remember, Lagway had the ball over the 50-yard line, and I think it was a one-score game at the time. They ended up coming up short on 4th down.
Mm-hmm.
But in the throes of that game, how many times did Miami get in 3rd and 2 or 3rd and 1 and then just wall it off? It almost looked like a wedge on an old kickoff, the way that the offensive line would just surge and move a stout Florida defensive front in order to achieve the goal. Didn't pay off for them in the way of points and a blowout win. They ended up winning the game. But I just remember being impressed by that in that moment, saying, wow, they're committed to this, which is where the frustrating part about our game, briefly to touch on that, is that we deployed all assets that we possibly could to stop the run, and we did a pretty good job. We certainly did much better than Ohio State did at stopping the run. You know, the whole thing about blowing coverages in the back end was the killer for us on that particular night. But you could look at Miami's run of games here in the playoff and say that actually our defensive effort against them was superior in terms of being able to take away the thing that they wanted to do first.
Yeah, well, they responded accordingly and beat us over the top with big plays.
And we had nothing for that.
Well, no, because you can't take away everything.
Right. Which is probably why Ohio State started out playing coverage, but I would imagine after a couple of drives, you'd say, yeah, we need to do not a full half of football. You need that much data to say this ain't working?
Well, the problem was they weren't made to pay for it on the scoreboard.
Yeah.
So because of that, then, they decided, all right, well, we're good. By the way, I just checked in here as we got going. The $14 million that Miami is getting is because they earned it, and the league is the one and the only league, by the way, of the Power Four that gives all of the playoff money to the schools that earn it. So you don't have to distribute it to the slapdicks in your conference that don't make the playoff. You get to keep it. If we'd stop sucking and get there, we'd keep the money.
This is something we wanted. Yeah. But,
so
they benefit.
The ACC offers all prize payouts and all travel expenses to the school that goes, or schools plural. Miami is the only team from the ACC that's there, the only one that's steady winning games. They get the money. and they'll get more. Last year, by the way, SMU got $4 million and Clemson got $4 million for making it to the college football playoff. The Big 10, the Big 12, they put their money into a pool. It's distributed equally to each program in the league. The SEC's rules are different too. So the ACC gets a million things wrong and is often led by a soft commissioner, but they get this part of it right, man. You reap the rewards for whooping ass. That's what you get paid for, whooping ass. And we fought for that. As Tom just noted, we fought for that to be the real thing. Hey, if we're good, if we basically operate at peak efficiency and do what we're supposed to do, we're going to make a lot more than everybody else in this league. Good. That's how we'd like it. That's what we complained about. That's exactly what we wanted. It was just that we happened to be ass sorry and in last of the ACC over a 2-year period.
Dead ass sorry. Dead ass last sorry.
It's hurtful. Just as hurtful as it is when, I go and check the chat and somebody's like, listen, I gave up hope a long time ago. Have you guys not noticed that we lose a lot of games often? I'm like, yeah, well, fair point. 2017 went 7-6. 2018 went 5-7. 2019 went 6-7. 2020 went 3-6. 2021 went 5-7. 2022, hope arrived, 10-3. 2023, oh my God, happy days again, 13-1. But alas, 2-10, 5-7. So that is 7 losses. And if you'd like, outside of the 13-1 and 10-3, which count, do matter, can't ignore them.
We lived it.
We're a thing. 23 wins in 2 years. Felt good. It was a wonderful taste. I like that pie. I'd like more. That's the good pie. This other pie is made with ass. 5 wins, 2 wins, 5 wins, 3 wins, 6 wins, 5 wins. Come on, man. I don't like this pie.
There's a lot of ways you could go with that.
I'm going in it depresses me way. This isn't the pie I like.
This pie is made with that. Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. Would you like victory pie? Or can you try this alternate pie? Well, what's in the alternate pie? Well, this pie is made with ass. I'll take the victory pie. Thank you.
That, no.
Wow. You're the 10th person in a row.
Nobody wants the ass pie. And with that, it's the Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV. Hey, no fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future.
On the front lines, fighting the insanity of the woke, it's Matt and Brett Doster.
I don't know if I just got lucky in regards to this endorsement with Harry's razors, but I was obsessed with razors long before Harry's came along because it made me angry that getting a good shave was proving to be quite costly, and it wasn't always a satisfactory endeavor. Like sometimes you'd get a new razor and it would irritate your neck or something. Like it just wasn't right. Anyhow, so I was trying everything for a long time, but then I switched to Harry's, and I have for some time now. And Harry's says, well, hey, would you like to try Harry's? I already do, but I'm going to tell you something right now. So this is just a regular Harry's razor. This is the new Harry's Plus that I decided when it came out, well, I like Harry's. I might as well try the Harry's Plus. And here's the thing. It's not only affordable, but it's a world-class blade made in Germany. And it's there's no outsourcing, no middleman, just so you know. And it's metal. They're not fooling around. Like, this thing is weighty. If you don't think I'm telling the truth, I just bought these Harry's Plus razors. I bought them. They didn't send them to me. Anyhow, I love Harry's, and I would like for you to give it a try. I think you'll see that I'm right here, gentlemen, that this is the best way to shave. It's they're going to tell you about their most advanced razor and all that stuff. I'm just telling you right now, this razor is fantastic. Both of them are. And I use them both for different things. I shave my head with one and my face with the other. It's perfect. For a limited time, our listeners can get the Harry's Plus trial set for only $10 at harrys.com/warchant. Set includes the all-new Harry's Plus razor, one refined 5-blade cartridge, a 2-ounce foaming shave gel, which I also use, a travel cover to protect your blades on the go. Head to harrys.com/warchant to claim the offer. After you purchase, they'll ask whether or where you heard it from. Please support the Jeff Cameron Show and Warchant. Please support this show and let them know that we sent you.
Your body is a masterpiece designed to heal itself from within. Learn how to maximize your health by tuning in to Phenomenal Health with me, Dr. Ryan Finn. Saturdays at 2:30. Experience true health today and call Finn Chiropractic at 386-7700.
From the championship stage to coaching change and everything in between, Warchant.com remains your home for the best FSU football coverage in the business. Brutally honest columns and features, market-leading multimedia presence across video and podcast, the largest FSU fan community with a staff that combines for over 100 years of experience covering the Noles. When change comes, Warchant.com is your home for analysis from every angle. Warchant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source. Sign up today.
Hey everybody, this is Greg Tish, and I want to personally invite you to join us each and every weekday morning right here on Real Talk 93.3 for the Greg Tish Show. We have the best guests in Tallahassee. We play the funnest games like Give Me a Second, the movie clip game, and everybody loves a food segment every weekday morning at 6:45. So start your day with Tallahassee's morning show, the Greg Tish Show, right here on Real Talk 93.3.
We know you're glued to your phone, so follow us on Facebook at Real Talk 93. Give us a like, and you're going to love it. The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
I was talking earlier a little bit about that. The matchup tonight, it's one of two. It's the first game tonight, and then tomorrow you get the other. I really don't think it's a wise idea to play on a Friday night, by the way. I know they're trying to avoid the NFL situation, but I don't love that. If I were worried about something like ratings for the college football
maximizing
playoff.
commercial inventory, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I hear you on that. It's not the smartest thing. Objectively, it's not.
No.
But as a fan who I'm a diehard, I'm a P1, spread it out over different days.
I like it spread out too,
that.
but I do think, man, that's a toughie. I wish they could.
I also like the idea it's a Friday, which means you can have a couple of pops and not pay the price.
More than a couple, buddy.
There will be.
You can.
I will.
I would.
I'm drinking it.
I would do it.
Sippy.
So the reason I bring any of that up is that I am caught up a little bit, Tom. The fandom in me comes out here a little bit. And what I mean by the fandom in that we cover sports, love sports, talk about sports, have lived sports. It's been a big part of our life. It's my profession. It's all of the things I couldn't wait to do when I was a kid. I wanted to do these kinds of things, partly because of what? The stories that come out of sports are the best. They're sometimes too good to be true. It doesn't even make any sense. Some of the all-time great stories, like the great tragedies in Greek mythology, and all of the, I love literature just like you do. So, but you can compare, you can see the parallels in the great novels and the great characters of those novels, the tragic figures, the heroes, all of it. It exists in sports in real life all the time.
Look, is Tiger a hero? No, but his overcoming of everything that he overcame, self-inflicted, much of it, at 2019 in the Masters.
It's crazy.
Is one of the most compelling things I've ever seen in my life.
Right.
It's impossible. I know Ben Hogan did it to a similar degree with the back
car
injury
crash.
and the car crash.
Yeah.
But not in the era where everybody's following you and everybody's photographing you, and you've
that's
you've
why
also
the
screwed
Rory
yourself royally.
That's why the Rory story was amazing last year. It's like, it's never going to happen. And then he's on the precipice. It could happen.
How about Kurt Warner? 25 years ago.
Oh, and there have been so many in between. A lot of them aren't as big as that. Like, that's amazing, right? You're bagging groceries, you were in the Arena League, and then you win a Super Bowl and you're an MVP. Yeah, he's a Hall of Famer now.
You want to get to like a play or a movie script. That dude's bagging groceries.
Yeah.
What? And he replaced Trent Green, who was probably like, damn it, with the injury.
Yeah.
But it changes everything. He's a Hall of Famer. From bagging groceries to a Hall of Famer. That's insane.
It's one of the many, and there are a ton of stories that are centered around sports that we love. A lot of them. In fact, I would argue the vast majority of the stories in sports that touch your heart are not played out on a national scale the way that Kurt Warner's was, or the way that you would look at a player who was, a career minor leaguer, gets called up when he's 30-something years old, and then goes on a tear for 7 seasons that changes who and what a franchise is. Like, that's happened. Guys who were given up for dead, found a new pitch. Next thing you know, they're winning the, Cy Young.
R.A. Dickey.
Yeah. Great. But anyhow,
the fastest knuckleball that ever was, 83, 85 mile an hour knuckleball.
Most of the stories are for guys behind the scenes and you find out about them later on. It's somebody who overcame incredible physical odds to win an Ironman, or to compete, even just to compete in an Ironman or something like that, right? Born with a club foot, they had whatever problems, and the next thing you know, they're out here doing things that nobody ever thought possible. Like those kinds of stories that bring tears to your eyes when you watch them or read them. That's the stuff. That's also sport. That's also sports. That's drama born from sport, or a sporting endeavor at the very least. It's personal it's perseverance. It's overcoming. I don't want to make this that, but I do want to say that the story of the kid playing quarterback tonight for Ole Miss, Trinidad Chambliss, as I talked about last hour, is crazy. I mean, if you really think of all the things that had to happen for him to be in this position, trying to get Ole Miss to play for a national championship, you would have said, "Oh, this is stupid. That doesn't happen." I mean, in the fall of 2024, he won the fall of 2024. He won the starting job at Ferris State. You know where Ferris State is?
Ohio.
Put you on the spot.
Ohio.
Feels like it should be. It's
Tennessee.
not. No. Big Rapids, Michigan.
I was close with Ohio.
You were. So he wins the starting job in 2024 at a school that you've never heard of, and neither have I, Ferris State, in Big Rapids, Michigan. His very first start there, he throws 2 interceptions in a lopsided loss at Ferris State. He then bounces back and leads Ferris to the Division II national championship. There's a lot between that time and this time, and I would encourage you to go find it. I won't bore you by reading all of the little steps forward along the way. But he lands an offer at the end of all of that to Ole Miss. He's there on the bench. There's an injury to the starting quarterback in the 3rd game of the season, or else you still wouldn't know who this kid is. And now, tonight, on the heels of going nuts and throwing for 362 yards and 2 touchdowns after trailing by 2 scores to Georgia when they had to have it, he has a chance to lead them to a national championship game once again as an underdog. That's cool. That's really cool. It's the stuff that we love in sport. We do. We love this story. So I am intrigued, and I am rooting for it. I would be rooting for Ole Miss if Saddam Hussein was playing quarterback tonight for them. But
wow,
it'd be impossible. But,
about Stalin? Keep
sure.
going?
Yeah. There aren't too many people that would be at the helm at Ole Miss at quarterback tonight against Miami that I wouldn't be, all right, need you to have a good one.
Enemy of my enemy.
There it is. That's right. But there you go. And by all accounts, the Chambliss kid is not that, right? I'm sure he's a fine, upstanding young man.
That's part of the allure when you're talking about overcoming is the Jordan Travis connection that this fan base has.
Absolutely it is.
Because we got to see him play during Odell Hagen's interim stint, his second one, and run for a touchdown. Oh, that's cute. He's a gadget player. Okay, I can see why Mike would bring in another quarterback because he's a gadget player. And then he turns into Jordan Travis. we got to see that not at Ferris State, and then, we picked him up after he'd proven himself. No, he went through hell here after the Louisville stint. I think that's why that resonated a little bit more with us as a fan base
Also,
than a standard quarterback who just came in and kicked ass.
And I can't say that I have ever seen the footage of Chambliss kicking ass at Ferris State. I hadn't, but I did get to see Jordan Travis up in personal and did get to see him not be any good at throwing the football until all of a sudden he was really good, and not just really good, having gone through a transformation, pre-snap ability to read a defense, to get the ball out on time, the delivery, the deep ball, all the things changed with him through a lot of hard work on his part, and he deserves all the credit because there has long been a question amongst everybody that covers and follows players, their abilities, the things that they're lacking, whatever it is the scout would tell you about a player. There's long been a debate about whether or not there are certain aspects of being a quarterback that if you don't possess by the time you're a sophomore or junior in college, you can never get.
The funny thing about his story is he had coaches believe in him more than he believed in himself. But then to get from that low to his high, he had to believe in himself more than anybody else did.
Yeah.
So how do you go
Somewhere
from a
along the
place
way.
of brokenness and no confidence to believing in yourself more than most anybody else does? That however he did that is remarkable.
Yeah, and that is something that also I think has lent a level of empathy for Mike, because Mike very publicly, or at least the story goes, supported him and told him not to give up trying to play quarterback, that he thought he could be a good quarterback, discouraged him from changing positions. Mike's done a lot wrong, but he did a lot right for a window of about 2 years. And so that makes it all the more distressing that it's fallen off a cliff, because you wonder, how did that happen?
Yeah, I think Kenny helped restore with Mike his confidence,
Without question,
his football soul, if you will. And then Tony was the one that helped refine his game, which gets lost. Everybody thinks that Dilly was here for Jordan's resurgence. Not really.
No, and by the way, Jordan will tell you Tony Tokar's helped him.
But Kenny helped restore his faith in himself. Like it took all those guys for him to go from where he was to where he ended up being for us, which was one of the great quarterbacks in the history of the program. I mean, that run is unimpeachable.
It was a great story, man. It was a really, really, really good story. And so anyhow, I like seeing things like that. We root for that sort of thing. Lord knows we could use another shot in the arm like that right now. I'd love somehow Sperry wins the job and all of a sudden you're like, look at this kid. He's kind of amazing. I mean, it's unlikely. All of these stories are unlikely, but
nobody's owed nothing, but it feels like we're owed that for what we've gone through since December of 23.
Well, feels like we're praying for it right about now. Everybody's just kind of like, come on, man, throw us a bone. Do we possibly have the next Joe Montana sitting here, unbeknownst to all?
That's right. Well, the fans that are getting ready for tonight's game from a certain green and orange college are saying, no, you could feel like you're owed something.
Yeah.
20 years go by and you haven't won a conference title.
Yeah. Still haven't, by the way. Still haven't.
How good this conference is.
Yeah. Still have it. By the way, their quarterback, who was not under the radar, and I referenced it last hour because they asked Mark Fletcher to win games. He has 262 rushing yards, this Mark Fletcher, in the playoffs so far. He's kind of the dude.
So you got to be careful about him putting the ball on the deck. Now, they keep on talking about Kadarius Toney not dropping a pass this year, but he put the ball on the deck twice against Ohio State.
Well, he's got a famous history for fumbling.
He does?
He's
in the season as well, yes.
He's a fumbler. He fumbled in high school, too. He's a fumbler. He loves to fumble.
He'll catch it, but then who knows?
He's also fast as hell.
Yeah, he is.
Really good player. Made us look stupid. But what I was saying about Fletcher with 262 is that Beck has 103 and 138 yards passing, respectively, in the two games. They're not asking him to do a damn thing. A damn thing. They're like paying him an obscene amount of money to do a whole lot of nothing. You turn and hand that ball off to Fletcher. Every now and then you dump one off here short and hope a guy can make a play.
So you're saying if he needed to go to a support group of the burden of his life right now,
yeah,
maybe he and a couple of coaches that coach our teams would be able to speak to him and say, well, this is how you handle it. You accept the money,
yeah,
and you do what little they ask you.
You go live your best life on the beach because you're rich, and stop worrying about the fact that they're only asking you to throw for 103 yards a game. Quit your bitching. Ain't nobody want to hear it. You're rich, and for what? Yeah, like that's why when I'm like, I kind of feel bad for Mike, people are like, you stop it. You stop feeling bad for Mike. You think he's going to feel bad when he's in the Maldives figuring out what the hell happened to his career? Think he's going to feel bad when he's skiing the Swiss Alps? I'm like, all right, fair enough. I hear the disdain in your voice. It's the Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
A Tallahassee man was arrested for firing nearly 60 rounds into the air on New Year's Day. Edric Murray was shooting a semi-automatic pistol into the air on Gale Avenue. When an officer arrived, Murray was found in the backyard of a home dumping what was found to be shell casings into a box. Murray told police he was just shooting in the air and celebrating the first. Officers found 59 shell casings in the box and on the ground in the area. Murray is charged with discharging a firearm in public or in residential property and tampering with physical evidence. A structure fire in Thomas County resulted in the deaths of a man and a dog, while another man suffered serious injuries early Sunday morning. Around 1:20 a.m., crews were called to a report of a structure fire at the corner of Singletary Road and Highway 84. A man managed to exit the home and was transported to a burn center shortly after with significant injuries. A second man, identified as 78-year-old Charles Gilbreth of Thomas County, and a pet dog died in the fire. The cause of the fire is under investigation. This is Rachel Lene with your Real Talk 93.3 Local News Update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MaclemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Mainly cloudy skies expected this afternoon with daytime highs approaching 77. Southerly winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Cloudy skies expected with fog in spots tonight. Lows dip down to about 58. Daytime highs approaching 78 and foggy early tomorrow. Mainly cloudy skies expected. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, it's 70 degrees.
Hey, middle and high school students. Did you know that Florida's Bright Future Scholarship can help pay for your tuition? College might seem far away, but planning for it starts now. Your guidance counselor is like your college planning coach. They know what classes you need and other things you could be working on to qualify. These meetings can literally shape your entire future. So students, parents, make those guidance counselor appointments a priority. Ask questions and stay involved. Your guidance counselor is your best teammate for a bright future. Visit floridabrightfutures.gov to learn more.
This message is brought to you by the Florida Lottery and the Florida Association of Broadcasters.
Hey, Jeff, what's up, buddy? I was just thinking, they never tell you that when you grow up, one of the things that you'll miss are the games that you created with your friends in the neighborhood.
Oh, good days.
So I would have my buddy come over, and then we'd make up these games that were kind of like a hodgepodge of every game that you've ever played.
Kind of like the bikes we built.
Correct. Yes. And it's a grand experiment. In the beginning, nobody knows how to play the game, and you argue about what the rules are going to be. And in the end, everybody knows how to play the game. By the end of that summer, you know the rules, the neighborhood know the rules, and you play that game like it's the greatest game ever played.
And they still try to break the rules, right?
Oh, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. But at the end, Eddie, you're never going to play it again, and you'll think about it the rest of your life.
And the best game you ever played was that game.
Never been a better one.
Hey, you want to have a Gordo Smash, Jeff?
I do. I'd like that. Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Miami, that would not be the University of, but rather the football team that resides in South Florida of the professional variety, fired Mike McDaniel today. Many a Dolphins fan has resided in the chat over the years. Today, I assume you celebrate. McDaniel met with reporters earlier in the week, said he'd be part of the team's interviews to hire a new GM. That struck me as odd. In what world would that coach be sitting in the room with a potential new GM? Been a strange week for coaches and former coaches, and the silliness that I've heard reported, not because it was erroneous reporting, but just strange. Like, if you're an owner, Stephen Ross is, and you are interviewing candidates for the new GM job. Why would Mike McDaniel be in the room? Because one of the questions you're going to ask the potential new GM is, would you make a change at head coach? Well, he's sitting right here. I don't know if I should answer that, Stephen. I would fire him. I mean, like, you're not going to do that. So it was odd when reporters asked Mike McDaniel about the week to be, and he said, I'm going to be part of the team's interview process for the new GMs that we're looking to hire, or a new GM that we're looking to hire. I wanted, and it's not the reporter's job to start a fight with Mike, but I wanted to be like, somebody should say, I don't think that's true. I think you're lying to us. That is highly unusual.
It would be great if he was in the room and they were just looking for the right candidate who would lean forward in his chair
most
and say,
assuredly,
Mike, I want you to look me in the eyes when I say this. If I'm here,
you're not.
Well, you got the job.
All right.
Okay,
Yeah, have a good one.
Mike, you know what to do.
Yeah, get your stuff, buddy.
Teddy, come in here. Let's walk Mike out.
I'm going to need your key fob. After careful evaluation and extensive discussions since the season ended, I have made the decision that our organization is in need of comprehensive change. I love Mike and want to thank him for his hard work, commitment, and the energy he brought to our organization. Mike is an incredibly creative football mind whose passion for the game and his players was evident every day. I wish him and his family the best moving forward. You know, I also would like to introduce some sort of rule or clause, or at least just suggest to people who have to make public comments after firing people, that I no longer want them to add, I wish them and their family the best. I know you think you should say it. I wouldn't. It's not that you don't. It's not implied because you let them go that you're wishing ill will to their family. There's no reason. There is no reason for you to add that in there as some sort of caveat to the firing. It's what it is. It's a work decision. It's a business decision. It would be hilarious if an owner ever did say, after careful evaluation and extensive discussion since the season ended, I have made the decision that our organization is in need of comprehensive change. I love, name your coach. I thanked him for his hard work and commitment and the energy that he has brought the organization. Name your coach. Was an incredible, creative football mind whose passion for the game and his players was evident and on display every day. And with that, I hope he dies in a fiery car crash, and I always hated his kids. Like, it would be, it's not going to happen. And it's not necessary.
That one daytime host did that to the Spears family. You had me fooled. Death to all of them. And the crowd goes, whoa! Death to all of them. What? That's it. That's the end of the statement.
That's the end of the statement.
Comma, to all of them.
To all of them.
Mickey Loomis.
The Dolphins will conduct a head coaching search, and it better start with a certain former Baltimore Ravens head coach. And I will say this, Tom, because I thought when it happened, the Harbaugh situation, that is, it was my sincere hope that the Bucs were actively attempting to lure Mr. Harbaugh to Tampa. But then when, oddly, another interesting development that happened with coaches this week, the current head coach of the Tampa Bay Bucs announced to a reporter in Tampa Bay that he would indeed be coming back without the actual franchise saying that. I thought that was odd. It seemed to me that his ass was hanging into the wind with no GM or owner's support to speak of and no comments made publicly. That seemed odd. It's also odd that a person who is not in charge of telling people whether they will or will not be back in an organization would make some sort of public proclamation through a reporter that they indeed will be coming back. That is some George Costanza stuff right there. That's good stuff. Heading off the firing at the pass. Oh, I'll be back. I'll see you tomorrow. Jeff, no, I'll see you tomorrow. Good to see you, Ted. We wanted to talk. Yep. Talking tomorrow when I come to work. On my, what are we doing? So there's all of that. It seemed a little odd. Two very odd things this week from coaches. One of them did indeed get fired. The other has not. So when I realized that the Bucs were not going to do the right thing and fire Todd Bowles, instead fire everybody around him, which, okay, I guess this is where we stand. There's a little similar situation here in Tallahassee. I thought, well, please don't let the Falcons get him. I could do without the Falcons, who did clean house, going and grabbing Harbaugh. That would not be ideal because that roster is better than our roster.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
and if they had a coach, that'd be a problem for the foreseeable future. They also happen to get their draft picks, all of them, in the first 2 rounds correct.
And their owner's last name would describe the check. I think that would be cut to Harbaugh. It would be for whatever he wants because blank ain't going to be here much longer.
Tom has put Arthur Blank on the Arnold Palmer list of those who are on their way out the door. Now, for years, I did this. I'm so proud of my cohort and dear friend over the years. Now, Tom will stamp your ass for death with a casual glance.
I don't know that he's quite on the
Arnold Palmer level yet.
Arnold Palmer was yellow amber light in terms of the alert. I don't think Arthur's at that level, but he's 83. And I saw him sitting in the box for the TGL event recently, and I thought, ooh, I don't know.
Well, we used to say, and
he was talking to Justin Thomas while Justin was being interviewed by Marty Smith.
No.
I don't know what's going on here.
My favorite part about what you just said is we've all been there for it. It's the moment that's so uncomfortable where the social construct breaks down and the norms are not adhered to. And you're like, oh, they don't even know.
No. And Justin Thomas has the look on his face like Chris Carter did when the fart broke out.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Mike Ditka.
Because he's being talked to and he's like, who do I answer? Who should I answer?
What am I doing here? This is what this old man.
Can we get a shotgun mic on the old man?
The old man's babbling on, and you're trying to ask me pertinent questions. I don't know what to do here.
Now, JT, what I need to know is how you feeling for this. And Arthur's just talking to him.
Just talking. You're like, sir.
Mr. Blank, I have to say, give me a minute.
The moment we've identified over the years, a lot of very public figures, when it goes south and you're like, oh, no, there it is. You had your Arthur Blank moment. You saw it. Not recognizing boundaries.
That's right.
Not recognizing boundaries.
In a more wholesome way than that sounds.
Oh, yeah, not in the salacious way, but in the I have no clue what's going on around me way. In the I've lost the plot, can't follow the bouncing ball way. In the oh, I don't know where I am way. They just told me to be here. This is a high-profile event, and I've got a lot of money way. It's sort of that's a toughie. It's like when they wheeled Ted Williams out there at the All-Star game.
Now, that would be the red alert of red alerts.
Well,
yes, on the scale.
I brought it up when, obviously a certain owner of the New York Yankees had drool going down his face as they wheeled him around Yankee Stadium on a freezing night, and he's waving and crying, and he doesn't know where he is, and he's frightened.
Actually,
I didn't mind that either because screw George Steinbrenner forever. But that was one of those things where we're watching it going, oh, come on, somebody should have intervened. You don't understand how
that tells you what his people thought of him.
Yeah.
They're like, no, you know what? Let him go.
Wheel his ass out there. Let him see how crazy he is.
Like, no, let him go. Go ahead.
No, please.
This is for 1983, George.
You were an absentee father.
You got a little mouthy with my wife at the Christmas party, and I don't know what the hell you thought you were doing with your hands.
Wheel him out.
Let him go.
Somebody wipe the drool. No, you leave it. So, yeah, those are uncomfortable moments.
Oppenheimer's wife at the end. I will not.
Well, I don't understand why in that moment you've got handlers. You've got people that should be looking after you. You got to know. You got to have somebody to step in and go, okay, look, I don't think Mr. Blank needs to be here at this time. We should move him along.
Arthur, let's go back a couple rows here in the suite. There's a good story from Brett that I think you should probably read because I believe Brett is a very serious poster.
I saw Arnie driving a golf cart at Bay Hills tournament. Oh, yeah, the Arnold Palmer. Ran it into a bunker.
Law enforcement officer.
Yeah. I just now, because I lost where I was. Law enforcement officer jumped out of the cart and propped it up to keep it from rolling over. The guy next to me, we almost saw Arnie die.
That's not a good sign. Now, people that are adjusted can do that. We had a coworker who once plowed over something on a golf course that you were there for, that I was not, and I wish I had been.
It was one
there.
of my favorite moments ever.
My dad destroyed a garbage can next to a tee box. He didn't see it. I don't understand how that was. It was incredibly loud, and he was very embarrassed. But I don't know about driving into a bunker. That's never a good sign.
Tony, the Ted Williams thing, by the way, just so you know, I'm not making fun of Ted Williams at all. There was an aspect of the Ted Williams thing that was great. That home run derby was great. The conversation that the players got to have with Ted and asking him questions and him asking them questions, in particular the question he asked Tony Gwynn, that was all great. But there was a lot of spectacle to it that wasn't great, including lingering a little too long on a man who was obviously in very ill health and on his way out the door. There were a couple of moments in particular that bothered me that felt awfully salacious.
It is self-serving. People are doing it for themselves and not for the individual that they're honoring.
Well, and his son did that with him as well.
Go look at Gordie Howe's birthday celebration at Joe Louis Arena.
Man.
No, that's one of the most cold-blooded in the world.
Oh, man.
Gordie Howe birthday cake. Look that up and tell me if they were acting in Gordie's best interest in that moment. Crazy.
Right. It's exploitive is really where I was going. It's not salacious. It's exploitive. And you're just kind of, I don't know.
All right, everybody, let's sing happy birthday to Mr. Hockey. Let's get Mr. Hockey off the screen. Let's get it.
Yeah, because there comes a time, listen, it's going to happen to us all. I mean, this isn't like news to anybody. At some point, you get to be a certain age and your family needs to look after you. It has to take care of you, especially if you're a public figure. There are times where we don't need to see, like Gene Hackman in the last week out there getting coffee.
You beat me to it. It was almost like Family Feud.
That was a tough one. I'll never forget.
You called that. And you know what? If somebody acted on your behalf at your urging, probably is the best way to put it, a dog would be alive that is dead now.
Oh, two of them, yes. Yeah. Oh,
the one in the
lived.
cage.
Yeah. Oh, that's a toughie.
That bothered me, but Gene can go. The
Gene was like 100.
The dog was in a cage.
Yeah.
That's really not cool, man.
We
need to outlaw.
I was sleuthing that story on air every day, and it really bothered you because I was reading the story. I was like, oh, man.
It still does.
And you're like, son of a bitch. So Matt Millara is still really shook anytime I bring up Lacey Peterson about how that whole thing went down and the whole thing. But if you bring it up to him, he's like, man, don't bring that up to me. I don't want to hear about that again.
That's one of the great lines because it speaks to the humanity in Coming to America when they show them the blind. I used to rent this to a blind man, and they show him the apartment.
Yeah.
And there's the chalk outline. He goes, damn shame what they did to that dog. Yeah, it's the dog. That they did it to a blind man? Yeah, it's going to happen. Damn shame what they did to that dog.
That's all I'm saying. There's got to be somebody there. Somebody there that can walk over and go, guys, the man has dignity. He is currently, as we sit in this room together, drooling and staring at the fan. I don't think it's a good idea to wheel him out before 40,000 people and ask him questions.
To be clear, Arthur Blank is not there.
No, but Tom is telling you he's close.
He's on the watch list. We're on the watch. And that's why, for Harbaugh's sake, for Blank's sake, I think he's got to make a go of this. This can't be a builder and a rebuild situation. He's got to go all in. He's got a good roster.
Yeah.
You need a guy that could put you over the top. On the market, it's John Harbaugh. You got to overpay, even if I'm a Falcons fan, I would rather have younger blood. Well, I understand what Arthur's doing. He's chasing it. He is giving us $3 hot dogs and $2 sodas. So let's see what he can do.
By the way, the reason I keyed in on your concern for Arthur Blank, I share it.
Oh, is that right?
I saw him the other day when he was hugging Raheem Morris, and it was like the Godfather's death hug, because Raheem Morris gave the press conference surely thinking he was coming back, and he came off the stage into the corridor, and there was Arthur Blank. And he went over and hugged Arthur Blank, and Arthur Blank had that look like, in an hour, you'll be gone. But not only did it happen, as he hugged him, it was this far away stare.
Yeah.
Like,
So
and I'm like,
I'll be gone too.
I may be dead hours after I whack you. But it was like it was surreal.
Well, the problem here is that in his younger days, in the healthier times for Arthur Blank, it's a good segment that we're breaking down Arthur Blank's mannerisms and his habits.
How near he is.
But he always, at the end of games, liked to stand between the 20-yard line and the end zone to be seen.
Mm-hmm.
But then also he would pull the head coach aside and congratulate him. He likes to be front and center, not on the level that Jerry Jones.
By all accounts, he's a good owner.
Right. Not on the level of Jerry, but he wants to be in the middle of that, which means that his habit is going to take him into a moment of a public interaction where you're going to have a problem.
You just did.
Because
he's trying to talk to Justin Thomas, who's in the middle of a competition doing a live interview in front of millions of people. And Arthur Blank's just babbling on about nothing.
Tens of thousands, but yes.
Well, you know what I'm saying? I mean, come on. The TV audience, Tom. There's millions of people watching.
I'm one of them, but I don't know if
their ratings keep going up.
Oh, good.
It's actually working. Final hour forthcoming. Stay with.
It's where you raise your kids, where friends become family, where every corner has a story worth telling. It's your neighborhood. At ABC 27, we share those stories, bringing you news that connects communities, builds pride, and reminds us we're part of something bigger. We are ABC 27, in your neighborhood.
Honey, what are these mushrooms in our yard? Portobello?
Huh. Let me take a look. Oh,
Shiitake.
I don't know, but our septic system is failing, and our whole yard smells like.
Should we try to cook these up and eat them tonight?
This is bad, Sheila.
Well, we better fix it soon, or we're going to be in deep.
Sheila, look, it's Crud Septic. Our prayers are answered.
Call Crud Septic Service today. Pump outs, installs, repairs. CrudSeptic.com. That's CrudSeptic.com.
Craving something different? Discover the bold and surprising flavors of Peru at Café de Martín. From sizzling lomo saltado to savory handmade empanadas, every dish is made with heart, history, and soul. Crafted by classically trained Chef Martín himself. It's not just food. It's a trip to Peru without the plane ticket. Swing by Café de Martín today and taste the tradition. Café de Martín. Authentic Peruvian. Right around the corner.
Go custom with your window coverings with help from Budget Blinds of Tallahassee. Budget Blinds brings their showroom to your home with dozens of color and pattern choices. Just tell them what you love and they'll make it happen. From designing custom draperies and Roman shades to color matching your blinds and shutters.
I'm Gary, the local owner of Budget Blinds Tallahassee, where you get beautiful style and expert service for any budget. Call 668-4835 for a free consultation online at budgetblinds.com/Tallahassee.
When emergencies happen in Florida, every second counts. Beacon keeps you informed. It's the new statewide network bringing official emergency alerts straight from the Florida Division of Emergency Management and agencies statewide. No hype, no ads, just clear, verified updates to help protect you and your family. Download the free Beacon 24/7 Alerts app in your app store. Brought to you by the Florida Division of Emergency Management, the University of Florida, and the Florida Association of Broadcasters.
Love to compete on the dartboard? Then it's time to head to the CP. The Corner Pocket Bar and Grill is Tallahassee's premier dart bar, featuring steel tip boards and soft tip internet play. The Corner Pocket hosts leagues and tournaments regularly. Just check out their social media to find a time that works for you. And in between games, grab a pint and a bite in the cool AC, or enjoy yourself outside on the deck. Whether you want to catch a game or start one of your own, the place to be is the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, 2475 Appalachian Parkway. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
WVFT Gretna, Tallahassee. This is Real Talk 93.3. More of the Jeff Cameron Show is coming up next. Your sports action update on Real Talk 93.3 with all the latest odds from Vegas.
Jaguars and Bills at Everbank Stadium on Sunday afternoon. AFC wild card. Bills a 1.5 favorite, 51.5 the total. Bills defensive back Maxwell Harrison, the rookie from Kentucky, will not play with an ankle injury. 11 games, 3 starts, and 2 picks this season for the 12-5 Bills. College football playoff semifinal, the Fiesta Bowl in Glendale, Arizona at State Farm Stadium today. Miami laying 3.5 against Ole Miss. The Peach Bowl in Atlanta tomorrow. Indiana 3.5-point favorites over the Oregon Ducks. College basketball today. North Florida 2.5-point dog at home with West Georgia. Queens laying 3.5 at Jacksonville. Score $500 in rewards at the G-Bank First Bet VSiN Trifecta. Details at vsin.com/GBank. For more sports betting news and information, go to vsin.com. Mike Son at Real Talk 93.3.
Snapshot from Progressive wasn't created for just anybody. Oh no, we made it for you, gradual breakers. You keep your eyes on the road, so you've seen it all. As long as it all happened directly in front of you, like a Swedish masseuse, your foot knows exactly the right amount of pressure to apply to the brake. That's why your passengers feel totally relaxed with you behind the wheel and occasionally super sleepy. With Snapshot, safe drivers like you get personalized rates based on your driving habits. Sign up today at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Snapshot not available in California or from all agents.
Ah, the internet, a place where your curiosity can flourish. Unless online threats stop you. The internet is wonderful, but you need to protect yourself online. Protect yourself online with NordVPN. NordVPN encrypts your browsing. Its Threat Protection Pro feature helps you block malware, avoid phishing, and stop digital trackers. Get the best deal at NordVPN.com.
Harnessing the power of the sun, delivering the highest quality drinking water, we are warming homes and fueling industries. And behind every service, there's a dedicated team. They're your neighbors, friends, and family. We are connected, and together, we are stronger. Day and night, rain or shine, the City of Tallahassee Utilities is working for you.
Let's be honest, we all have way too much stuff. Maybe your storage closet is full, your garage is full, or the guest bedroom is a mess. Call Southeast Portable Buildings, 580-6400, or visit them online at southeastportablebuildings.com.
When I get home from work, I'm ready to relax. So I call Swain Pools and Spas and put my pool in the back. I call Swain Pools and Spas. Now I'm soaking up the fun when I want to.
Swain Pools and Spas is your pool and spa everything store. Swain sells them, Swain repairs them, Swain renovates them, Swain services them. Swain even has pool and spa supplies. And they'll test your water too. Nobody, and I mean nobody, knows more about pools and spas than Swain. Almost 40 years of quality, reliability, and service. Look for the big Swain sign on Tharp Street. Call them at 386-7113 or online at swainpools.com.
This is Brian Kilmeade, and I'm excited to be on the air in the capital city. Be sure to tune into my show. I'll be giving you all the latest news, information, and the truth you demand. The Brian Kilmeade Show is live from 9 till noon, right here on Real Talk 93.3.
This is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Closely. It's time for the Jeff Cameron Show in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, I appreciate it. We appreciate it. Looking forward to the game tonight. We'll try to figure out exactly what's what as we sit down and calm the nerves and hope to see Ole Miss win 47-3.
Oh, yeah. That sounds nice.
I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think that's going to happen in the slightest, but I do think it could be in the cards that they win. We'll watch. You're right. It's Miami's favored for a reason, and I think a good reason. We've talked extensively off and on about the way that team is built, and I do think they want to play a lower scoring game. They have opportunities in this game, does Miami, against that Ole Miss defense, which is the weaker of the defenses that they have faced. They have not faced one as weak as Ole Miss is in the 2 games prior. Ohio State's defense is obviously elite, and Texas A&M's defense is good. So this should provide opportunities if they want to open it up for Carson Beck to throw the ball. But there would be no reason to go into this game having that be your primary goal. Running the football, playing great defense, and flipping the field has worked well for them. They'll have to be forced into a shootout. Now, I will tell you this. If that happens, get your popcorn, because then it's on. That means that Mr. Chambliss is balling.
One thing that happened for the Georgia-Ole Miss game, I'm not sure if it happened earlier in the day because I was watching standard broadcasts, but they changed the Skycast, man. I don't know if you saw that.
I did.
They added the local radio broadcast to it.
Don't do that.
We had perfection. We had it for a few years there, where it was just the PA and the sounds of the game and the view right over the shoulder of the quarterback, which, for lack of a better term, kind of video game-ish in the view, but you get to see depth and trench battles. It's low-level, low-angle, tight copy. And now you've got 2 different versions of the Skycast with the radio broadcast on it. They ruined it, man. They did.
It's interesting. If you watch that Skycast that you're talking about, and for people that haven't, it is different now, so you'll never get the opportunity again. But if you did go back and watch that other one, you'd find that you rather enjoyed the piece. You know what I don't like and what I don't understand? And both you and I both have, I believe you still do, have YouTube TV. When you watch the 4K games, that's a stupid angle during the breaks. There's no reason for that corner end zone way back. What are you doing? Stop that.
I am okay with it because it's at the expense of the commercials and it's just nice and quiet.
I like the nice and quiet just like you do. It could be nice and quiet on the 50.
Yeah, that's fair.
I don't need to be nice and quiet behind some fat ass eating a Frosty in the corner of the end zone every time. Every time.
There was a Miami game earlier this year where this one woman and her guy were in the corner right in front of the you should watch them for half an hour.
What's bizarre is it's always a fat couple sitting there eating. That's where they sit. That's where they sit, and they prop the camera there every time. I'm like, what are we doing here?
Although the 4K wasn't available for all the playoff games last round.
No, just a couple.
God almighty. What is so hard? What is so expensive? I need to know. I asked a guy that we know that's in TV. I said, how much more expensive is it? Because I need to know why the NFL doesn't do it every week and why college does. How is it, as a 4K subscriber, in a given weekend, that I can get Ohio State Northwestern in 4K, but you can't give me the NFL game of the week?
Yeah, you get Ohio State Northwestern in 4K, and nobody wants Ohio State Northwestern in 4K. There's no reason for it.
No, the ESPN 4K game, the SEC game of the week is, and sometimes it's Florida State. It used to be more.
Yeah, very infrequently these days.
Right. But you get that. The Fowler game is always on in 4K. That's great. And then it's big noon Saturday. But the NFL, no. Bupkiss. Monday Night Football. Wouldn't you think Monday Night Football would be a 4K option? No. You get basic HD.
You get screwed. DJ Lagway is committed to Baylor. Not that he was going to commit here. It's not like, oh, we lost him to Baylor. We were never going to get him. And also didn't want him. That's me. Some of you disagree. Fine. That's fine. Should notice that we'll probably get word about Sam Leavitt. I did also notice some other names that are out there, but what I want to do is circle back here to a position of need. Florida State brought in Xavier Chaplin, who left this morning. He's an offensive lineman. That is the only guy I got excited about today because the other 2 people that have been on campus were a kicker and another effing running back. No need.
You know, there's another running back visiting tomorrow.
Great. Let's bring in all the running backs.
That was a joke, but you believed it.
Because what else do they do? That's what they do. This is how silly it all is.
They had to convert him to guard.
Can one of those running backs rush the passer?
Let's fatten him up.
Goodness gracious.
Give him some of that pie we talked about.
It would be the worst of the pies that we talked about. So anyhow, he visited and left yesterday. He got here yesterday. He left this morning, I should say. Did Xavier Chaplin. And that was the second visit in a series of visits that he's making, and it's down to us in Kentucky. What do you think? What's the intel on Xavier Chaplin, whether or not – I'll say this. Xavier Chaplin is, for those wondering, 6'6", 312 pounds. He's a transfer portal ranking of he's a 4-star transfer portal ranking, if that's what you're going with. They need offensive linemen. I'm for throwing numbers at the problem.
This is gross speculation, not intel from our own Matt Lasser or anybody else. We'll pay on this one. We certainly have the funds. And some of the numbers that have been floated around about the other guys that we've offered and whiffed on or not gotten visits for, we've been aggressive.
You can say whiffed.
Well, I mean, I think both categories. There are a couple categories. But they've been aggressive, some of these numbers. And it didn't matter. So,
well, yeah, we're not everybody's destination
correct.
Currently. That is correct. Yeah, I get it.
The suck tax is real. I was told that last night by somebody connected to the operation. The suck tax is real. Like, yeah, of course it is. Of course it is.
How can
I'm a Mets fan. I understand what the suck tax is before there was a suck tax.
I'm a Pirates fan.
Yeah.
I've watched the suck tax play out this offseason.
Now, we go get big players, but we understand that the overpay is real. The necessary overpay to get a Pedro or a Beltran back in the day, it's the suck tax. You pay a hell of a lot more.
The good news is that in New York, you usually have it.
Correct.
Now,
so I don't know where this kid's going to choose. I don't think it'll be money that gets in the way on this particular one. Don't think so.
Well, what I'll tell you is that Xavier Chaplin is not an elite player. He has a massive body. If you care about PFF grades, he's 400 and something amongst tackles. Not good. You go look at his profile. It ain't great. Game to game, it's not great. Game to game, it's not great. But he had some moments.
Yeah, the thought, too, is that this year in the portal cycle, the trenches are not as strong as they were last year. Last year, there was a lot more out there to go grab and consolidate and profit from in terms of wins. And we did that on the offensive line. That was a pretty good ragtag group that you put together on the fly.
Yeah. Also, the portal's changed a lot since it started. There's not an overabundance of elite offensive and defensive linemen in the portal the way that there were in the early days. You could go get great players out of the portal, or very good ones. See Jermaine Johnson, amongst others, out of the portal. They may have some defects. Like, why are they in the portal? They may have some defects, but there was some real upside to guys there. But that's changed a lot.
I think also it goes year to year, much like the high school classes.
Mm-hmm.
Some years you're deeper than others. Same thing for a draft class.
Well, this year is a terrible quarterback draft class.
Yes, and this year in college, it is a very weak defensive line market, which is why you might be raked over the coals in one of the specific situations you're raked over the coals in. Because players understand that in this year to negotiate, you are in an excellent place to capitalize on the fact that people need defensive linemen. People who would pay a lot of money need defensive linemen. So therefore, I can go negotiate for more because I've got leverage in two ways, especially if you're here at Florida State. You got leverage in two ways.
More development in college football, by the way, regarding the Demond Williams Jr. story. It's really fascinating. As we continue to watch this play out, it should interest everybody who would like to see some changes to the current system. Demond Williams has been dropped by his agent, Doug Hendrickson, in the wake of the former Washington quarterback's announcement that he will enter the transfer portal. Quote, I've made the decision to end my representation of Demond Williams Jr. effective immediately due to philosophical differences. Demond is an incredible talent, and we wish him and his family the best in their future endeavors. For our conversation last hour about that's unnecessary. Williams announced he would enter the portal on Tuesdays, just Tuesdays. Every Tuesday, he's going to enter the portal, everybody. It's like Tuesdays with Maury. It's Tuesdays with Devon. He's entering the portal. No, Williams announced on Tuesday that he would enter the portal, and that was days after he had signed a contract in the mid to $4 million range or thereabouts for the Huskies in the 2026 season. That's a hell of a thing to actually get paid and then go,
The agent thing is really wild, too, because of the implications that if he was forced to go back to Washington and honor that deal, as long as the agent continues to represent him, then the agent would collect commissions off of the Washington contract, the Washington rev share contract that he's splitting with him. I don't know that if Damon was forced back to UW that he would be able to collect anymore. That's that. In a way, you could be costing yourself money to leave and break with the client. So I don't know, that is a very interesting inside baseball moment there.
Let me point out, and this is important to what you're talking about and also how the game is changing. I've said this a lot over the last few days, and I think for people trying to track where this is going, that space and the involvement of agents and representation in general. I mentioned that the money is greater in a lot of cases for the upper end talent in college football. The money the agent gets for negotiating these deals is greater than that what they get in the NFL. So in the NFL, an agent customarily will get 3%. You've got agents out here getting 20%, 15, 10%. Now there's an argument, and I've had an agent tell me this. Jeff, ain't nobody getting 20% out here except for the creme de la creme for the most high ranking of the players. Most of these guys are still getting 5 to 10% is more than 3%.
But there are still rumors, even in this ecosystem of college where there's less regulation but more professionalism. You're right about that.
It's becoming more and more professional, yes.
But there are still grease men in the process,
yes,
too,
there is.
which is crazy. It's like some sort of amalgamation of multiple eras. It's weird.
One thing to add to what I was saying with that is that Hendrickson, you might ask aloud, well, why would the guy walk away from a potential high-paying gig? I mean, payday. Because if that's a $4 million deal that he got worked out for Damon Williams and he's making 7%, all right. I mean, that's a good day at the office. Well, I think the reason he would is this is a blight. This is a stain. This is an ugly situation. This is a precedent-setting moment, perhaps. We'll see. But the other reason is he's the executive vice president of Wasserman Sports. He, specifically him, represents the Washington coach, Jed Fish.
Yep. Yeah, you got to make a choice at that point.
Well, I'm going to go ahead with Jed Fish, who's making a hell of a lot more than the quarterback.
Well, and the quarterback can only make for another year or two
right.
at most anyway. But also, it's just you're forfeiting that, and it also signals to me that Damon is going the distance here. They can challenge it, but he's going where he's going. And to hell with you, and we'll see in court.
Good. Let's expedite the process, please. Let's get some clarity on all this. Pete Thamel of ESPN reported this. Washington told Thamel again that they are prepared to pursue all legal avenues to enforce his contract. And according to the details of that contract, they're not obligated to enter Williams into the portal at all. They don't have to do it. They do not have to otherwise, quote, assist or facilitate the student-athlete's transfer to another university. So they're saying you can try to enter your name in the portal, but you're under contract and we're not helping you put your name in the portal. No, there's no portal for you. And, of course, this is going to eventually lead to some sort of lawsuit.
I think part of it also you have to examine if there is offset/buyout language. And is the university obligated to accept the buyout? I would think that clause would say yes, that if you can meet the demand of X amount of dollars, then, the kid's free and clear. But if they're refusing to do so, was the offset language properly? I would imagine the offset language was properly written. This is a big-time agent. This isn't a friend. This isn't somebody trying to make their name in the business.
Right. And there are plenty of those guys. Yeah.
If it's a $4 million deal, I wonder what that buyout would be. It would probably be massive, but that's interesting to me that the compliance department now says we don't need to do anything with this.
For his part, you were correct. Williams did obtain legal counsel. And so that guy's name, by the way, Darren Heitner. And so if you see that name pop up, you might want to read that story. The situation has interested the Big Ten because this happened a year ago in a far less high-profile case, and it was the case of Xavier Lucas. And that controversy centered around the fact that he transferred from Wisconsin to Miami last year. And the Big Ten supported Wisconsin trying to enforce the defensive back's contract with the team. They said, take it to the hilt, take it to the courts. Let's go. Williams, by the way, for his part, if you didn't watch Washington this year, was good. Threw for over 30,000 yards, 25 touchdowns, completed nearly 70% of his passes. Good player. Washington actually had a pretty good year and turned it around.
And they understood that because they're coming off of a period of sucking, that they needed to pay big to keep the kid, and they thought they got it done. And they enjoyed themselves for a little bit more than 72 hours before he was gone.
Washington's a weird program. Just played for the national title a few years ago against Michigan. And just they're weird after being dormant forever. And then obviously their coach, DeBoer, who turned it all around for them, took the Alabama job on the heels of all of that success. Now DeBoer looked upon with a jaundiced eye from folks at Alabama, and for whatever reason is the first name mentioned anytime a job opens up anywhere else. And then Washington with Jed Fish, who took over in that situation, kind of was able to stem the tide of the downward projection after DeBoer left, and very quickly had success to the tune of was rumored to be the possible replacement in Gainesville at the University of Florida. He was going to perhaps take over as head coach there. It didn't go that way, but was rumored for that. And of course, he's a Florida graduate. Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
No matter how busy life gets, your home is the place where your family and friends show you they care and celebrate with you. That's why the professionals at Barano Heating and Air Conditioning always make sure your home is comfortable. Just like those who matter to you most, Barano will always be there for you.
This is Tyler from Barano Heating and Air. Now you can schedule an appointment, purchase or renew your service agreement, or pay your bill from your mobile device. Any day, anytime, anywhere. When you turn to the experts at Carrier and Barano Heating and Air. Online at baranoac.com.
Florida license number CAC 1816186.
Barano Heating and Air Conditioning.
Welcome to Fen Chiropractic. What in the world happened to you?
Well, it was Thanksgiving, and it started out normal. We had deep fried turkey, lukewarm beer, and a political debate that escalated into a deviled egg fight. Then Cousin Daryl said the Dolphins are going to win the Super Bowl. And boom, there's folding chairs flying. Somebody tried to suplex Uncle Roy right through the buffet table.
Oh, my Lord.
Then Grandma pulled out her old wrestling belt and said, let's settle this in the yard. That's when Hank stepped in. Hanky Panky, my emotional support alligator. He tail whipped the potato salad in the neighbor's yard and stared down my brother-in-law to stop the yelling, and then he calmly slid into the hot tub like nothing happened.
So, how did you get hurt?
I got hurt when I tried to high-five Hank. I slipped on a gravy boat and I landed on a lawn gnome.
Family drama, holiday injuries, or gator-related back pain? Get adjusted at Fen Chiropractic. Visit fenchiro.com. That's FENNCHIRO.com.
Just like family, your chiropractor loves you and there ain't nothing you can do about it.
Did you know that the survivability of a metal roof far exceeds that of a traditional shingle roof? At Metal Roofing Sales of Tallahassee, we have new state-of-the-art roll formers that produce the highest quality Versa panel, PBR panel, and standing seam options. And we will guarantee to match or beat any local competitor's pricing. We're a family-owned business, ready to offer you the best sales and installation service in the area. And don't forget about our veterans and first responders discounts. Call Metal Roofing Sales today, 850-536-9123, or visit us online at metalroofingSales.net.
What is Recover Now? It's a movement to get clean and sober, started by you, friends and family members, or maybe even the person suffering from an alcohol or drug problem. Recover Now is a free service that helps people find treatment facilities covered by private insurance to help them start the road to recovery and succeed. If you or a loved one wants to recover now, call this number. It's a free call. Many of our treatment counselors have been exactly where you are, and they know what you're going through and how to help you get where you want to be, and that is on the road to recovery. With one free phone call, my specialist will check your insurance and help you get the best treatment for your needs. Remember, get clean, get sober. Use Recover Now as your free service. Here's the number.
800-764-6915. 800-764-6915. 800-764-6915. That's 800-764-6915.
All babies cry. It's a normal part of a baby's development. From around 2 weeks to 5 months old, the period of purple crying occurs when babies cry a lot, sometimes for no reason. Check if they're tired, hungry, or need their diaper changed. It's important to stay calm and try soothing techniques. Go on a walk or hold them skin to skin. But remember, never shake a baby. It's okay to ask for help. The period of purple crying is just that, a period. For more information, visit preventchildabusefl.org.
This message is sponsored by the Ounce of Prevention Fund of Florida, the State of Florida, Department of Health, and the Florida Association of Broadcasters.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Yeah, that will be interesting. I'm trying to read. During the break, I was reading more on that story. It's funny. Most of the time, Tom, when we have this conversation about current players, and they go to, the university and they ask for money or whatever, and they negotiate a deal. And then you find out later on, the next year they want more money or they want something different. I'm like, well, that's the system the way it is right now. I don't blame the kids, what's happening there. A lot of people certainly would negotiate for more money in their own job if they could, if there was an opening for it. Now, in this case, that kid's going to get no sympathy. Nobody's going to side with that kid. You signed a $4 million deal like 3 days ago. No, man, that ain't going to work. Nobody's going to side with that.
And right now, it's just a whole bunch of hearsay that goes on, and I'm participating in that with what I know behind the scenes with the Sears, but I'm watching the opinions of the fan base change in real time, reacting to every step along the way.
Let me guess, because I don't know. I haven't seen the reaction on the boards, if that's what you're gauging it on. But I'm going to guess that there's a consensus headed towards tell them to bounce.
It's getting there because, the way it's trending, and look, it's implied / what I put in the updates on the board is that the Florida State side has revisited the terms at some point this season. I can't confirm when exactly. I know other outlets have, but I can't tell you the pinpoint time that they revisited the terms that they got out of high school. They got a bump. And then they did it again recently to meet numbers that the Desirs were looking for. And yet when you give them what they want, it's not good enough. And you come back for more.
So we have to be careful with this now. You're telling me that they had an agreement in place with the Desirs in this latest round.
On compensation, not all terms of the contract. That's the important thing here. There are many levels to rev share deals that didn't exist for NIL. NIL was just straight cash, homie. This is now buyout offset language. There could be incentives placed in there. There could be guarantees placed in there. So like rev shares look a little bit more professional in their style than NIL contracts, which is just like, here's what you're going to get every month in your bank account.
So they had agreed to terms.
They had agreed on the comp part. Yes.
That's the biggest part.
It is. Yes. One would think.
And so then they want a caveat to that. That's the holdup. The caveat to that is, or they want in addition to that, in addition to the compensation, we want no offset language. Well, who's going to sign that?
Well, I don't know about no offset language, but yeah, there were specific terms. And then rumor was this wasn't good enough to be able to put, this is a speculation area. This is not a reporting area in this moment, that even still, they inch towards all terms being looked at and saying, all right, we'll do it. And then there's an 11th hour change. Another ask.
They're asking for.
Another ask.
There's another ask.
And at some point, the university side goes, fellas, what are we doing?
What stinks for FSU in this situation is that at the end of the day, it's going to come across as looking pretty ugly for Florida State. It just further damages their reputation.
Nobody wins in
this.
Well,
no. They could end up winning. The Desirs could end up winning if you want you want to call it.
I'm just talking from the Florida State fans' perspective of either side of this. Nobody's a winner.
No,
This
it's an awful situation.
It's an ugly look for all parties.
I keep bringing this up a lot, and this is not negative. And I hate this folks with such weak-ass sensibilities that they can't have honest conversations about the plight Florida State finds themselves in. We can disagree as to the myriad reasons, and we can disagree to the level by which somebody is to blame, but we cannot disagree at all, nor ignore the conversation or the situation by just refusing to talk about it. Just drives me nuts. But what I would say is this is something that is on display at all times right now. Florida State's situation, to what degree it is or is not, doesn't matter. Perception's reality is seen as toxic. The whole situation is seen as disorganized and toxic. So you have kids seeking to take advantage via leverage that they have over you, because if they are a player of note, they're one of the few on this roster as of late, and they're saying, well, I can get paid a lot more money to leave, and you can't afford for me to leave. And they're using that to their advantage, which sucks, and it's kind of ugly, but it's business, and it does happen.
Hey, coaches, Norvell did that when Alabama was courting him.
Well, his agent certainly did, and then, he went along with it. Right.
So what's good for the goose here, and that's where you would think that somebody that might be standing, this is where I can see both sides of this argument. The reality is the reality. You might hate it, but the reason you're making 10 in that chair is because of the same mechanism that you're frustrated
right here, right now in this moment. Right. They have no choice. Or
now you, as the head of the program, in the same way, are being held to bear.
My point is, that's fine, and that is fair, and that's an accurate descriptor.
The other side of it is, if you come to me with terms, and I agree to your terms, and you say, wait a minute, and another thing, at some point, and another thing is, get the hell out of my office.
Of course it is. But the moment that you say bounce is another hit, another black eye for Florida State in terms of perception and the public view of, and therefore the influence that resides over this. I mean, you think about it.
The suck tax is real, and it's not always dollars.
Right.
Yeah. So that's where you have to understand and in some ways yield to the fact that you're between a rock and a hard place. But I can also understand if you say, we had an agreement, and now you're going to say, and how about the other cherry on? There were cherries on top. What do you want, sprinkles too?
Yeah, what stinks is that, like, one of those kids in particular is a very good player and trending towards being a very, very, very good player. And they just don't have enough of that on the defensive line at all. I mean, look at the kids that are visiting. We're getting nothing.
Well, and that market is bare. That's what we were just talking about a segment ago. So therefore, you understand that you have leveraged so many different ways. The market is limited. Florida State's in a rough spot.
Yep.
I outperformed what my initial number was. I'm in a good spot here. This is the era of the transfer portal where rev share deals can be revised. Doesn't just mean revenue. It can mean revised deal for rev share. So that's where the situation is. And it's ugly, but I can understand both sides of the market here. I'm not necessarily picking a side and saying they blew it or it's their fault. This is it. This is the reality of the world we're living in college football.
All I think about is, how is Florida State going to get out from under this situation? Like, revitalize the reputation, create an environment that people want to come and play here, understand, be buttoned up, have it ready to roll next year at this time. I mean, that is, in theory, why you brought in Garrett. Garrett is just not in a position to help you right now, and he was never going to be.
And I think that there's oversimplification on both sides. One side would argue, well, just tell them to go pound sand. Well, you do need a roster, and you do need good players. And there's the other side that says, well, just pay them. Just pay them just say, okay, say yes. Well, that might not be the end of the conversation, because you might say yes, and then they might say, and another thing. So like that's the hard part here is, if you're looking for simple solutions, these things aren't always that cut and dried, unfortunately, especially right now, because there's the language in these deals and the era that we live in. It's not like a CBA with the NFL. You can't constantly hold out in the NFL. You could hold out in training camp in a rare circumstance, but you couldn't do it weeks apart, or in the case of the Washington quarterback, 4 days after you signed.
Well, yeah, you certainly couldn't do it after you signed the contract, right? You could, but you'd lose the contract. And they'd hold your rights, so you couldn't leave.
Well, and the other part that just speaking as a human being here on the side, it's annoying is, well, this is going to be a really big night. You know, by tomorrow morning, it's going to be, well, I really think this pinch point's going to be in the next so many hours. And like, here we are, it's 3:30, 2 days later, and it's still this impasse.
I wouldn't worry about it, because here's the deal. It doesn't, I mean, at the end of the day, it's either going to get done or it's not. They've got so many other problems. This would add to the ledger, but they've got to get some more quality players, or players, period, on that side of the ball in here. Now, I don't want to have to add to it, but they do. I mean, they've got to start really concentrating their efforts. Who is suiting up for them next year on defense?
Which is a factor you have to weigh when you're in the chair, and they're asking you for more. Yeah, it's not easy. At some point, you have to be firm in your belief to stand on your word and say no if you're the university. But also, if you're the player, at some point you have to say, the market is flush. I'm not bluffing. Well, I could make the money that I say I could make at other schools. And so here you are. These two forces are butting heads.
One of the consistent reports that we've heard, and I think it's changing some, but one of the things that we've heard a lot about is that initially, when the portal first became a thing, there was a lot of misinformation. And I think there's less and less of that now. But there was a situation where kids, like Colorado did this to kids, a lot of schools did, where they would dangle a carrot, a certain amount of money that they would say is possible for you to make if you just put your name in the portal, and we'll have you out here for a visit and you'll see this is the best place for you. And it was a bait and switch. You know, hey, we might have $150,000 for you here. I think you're making 62 right there at Florida State. Why don't you come and see what Boulder's all about? And then the kids would go out there, and then they would like it because they were excited. They were enthused. And I'm using Colorado as one example. And then they'd want to talk turkey because they're like, oh, I'm ready. I'm ready for it. And then they'd sit down, and the number was similar to what they were already making, if not the exact same. Well, what gives? I came in all the way out here. I did the visit, and I mean, you told me I was going to make twice what I was making. Oh, well, no, you know, we still think this is the best place for you. And we're glad you're here, and we definitely want you. And we'll do everything we can to make it up in a lot of different ways. But the salary, this is what we have to offer. And so kids were getting bait and switched, and then they would find themselves kind of wander. In some cases, it wasn't even the same money. And then when they'd try to go back, now you had a certain running back that you loved that had a lot of situations happen with him, and that ended up being just downright tragic.
That's sad. Yeah, he's in the portal again right now, Rodney.
Right. Well, I mean, that whole situation never had to be. Never had to be. And then some of that was on his mom and others, but yeah.
I think the last vestige here of that is that there is exaggeration on the part of either an agency or a player about how much they were comped versus the reality.
Oh, players
out
who
of
get
pride.
Yeah.
And that's where, if we could just be transparent about how much a person makes rather than cloak and dagger, a lot of these problems would sort themselves. But that's where, again, you'll have players checking each other's pockets. I mean, that's nothing new. That will always be something, I'm sure, even at the professional level, that how is this guy getting paid that much money? But at least you know what the total is. It's not like somebody's in a group text and they're saying, well, I'm making this much money. Like, what? You got what? And then that spins 3 or 4 camps out of control.
One of the things that sucks is you are dealing with very young men in this situation, and prideful, boastful young men, competitive young men. And so you end up with weird situations in your locker room. These aren't 32-year-old starting right guards in the NFL. You got a kid who comes in and tells somebody in that locker room who thinks that he's making, let's say he is making $100,000, and he's telling the guy next to him he's making $230,000. Well, the kid next to him happens to play on the same line he does, and he's making $100,000, and he's like, what? And you've got a problem, and you're always putting out fires. It's absurd.
I wish, and I know that negotiation can't ever be this simple, but we've been in some negotiations over the years, not like you and I, but I like to just, let's get to it. Enough of the song and dance.
Well, this is where, when you have an agent, you don't have to be part of that. That's the whole thing. It's hard when it is directly you. If you're having the conversation at a lunch, it's very, very personal. If you're not involved in the conversation, it's very easy. You tell your agent exactly what you want. I've done that. Here's what I want. Let's see if we can get it. And
right.
Get back to me when it's all over. But that, like, to me, this is where Mike Norvell does not need to be involved. in these conversations. It's not something he should even want to be involved in.
He said he doesn't want to be, but in this case, I think with the Desirs, it rises to the level that he's got to make a ruling on it. It's just,
yeah,
what's
he ultimately
frustrating
is going to have
about
to
it
make
is-
a ruling, but you don't have to be there like tit for tat.
for sure. And I don't know that he was at the meeting yesterday. I think that was him, but what's frustrating about it is, and these aren't the right numbers, so don't infer. If they said, look, these kids are worth $2 million apiece. Again, these are not the right numbers. I'm exaggerating.
So fine, say
we get away.
$25.
Right. Okay, these kids are worth $25 a piece.
Mm-hmm.
And I can get that from many other schools. Can you match? We'll even take a 10 or 15% haircut on that $25 because we like it here, but we need to know in the next 24 hours or else we're going to enter the portal. Why can't we operate in a world where that is just conducted? Yes or no? Do you have it or do you not? But the problem is the university might say yes, and like, well, I'm glad to hear that you were willing to make that haircut happen. How about that full $25? It couldn't just be, this is what we would be paid elsewhere. Take it or leave it. It hasn't been, and that's why this thing is just a never-ending.
Oh, maddening.
It's a volley from Mahout and Isner.
Where's the game 25 in the fifth set? What are we doing?
Neither of these guys are even going to win.
Come on, somebody. Hit it in the net. It's the Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
A young man is hospitalized with injuries after a shooting outside of the Wilson Green neighborhood Tuesday afternoon. The shooting happened near the South Tallahassee neighborhood and then traveled to the Rich Haven area. The deputies responded to the scene just after 4 p.m. The victim himself may have made the phone call to 911. LCSO is trying to learn more about what led up to the incident. Deputies are still searching for the shooting suspect. This is an active and ongoing investigation. Gretna officials broke ground Tuesday on a new community center that will restore the city's senior citizens program. The project on 4th Street is funded by a $2.25 million grant from Florida Commerce. The center will host community events, educational programs, and recreational activities for all ages. Construction is expected to be completed by this June. The facility will serve as a symbol of Gretna's continued growth and community unity. This is Rachel Lene with Real Talk 93.3 Local News Update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Sunshine mixed with clouds at times this afternoon with daytime highs approaching 77. South winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Lows level off around 58 with fog in spots tonight. Cloudy skies expected. High temperatures reach up to 78 with fog in spots early tomorrow. Cloudy skies with a few peaks of sun. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Currently 70.
Interest rates and inflation are out of control. Is your credit card debt also out of control? It's time to resolve your debt and take back control for a lot less than what you owe. If you have $10,000 or more in credit card debt, then you need to call us right now. Debt Fix Pros can significantly reduce the amount you owe, and you could be debt-free faster than you think.
I knew we had to do something. Our debt was growing.
It was getting out of control, and we just didn't know what to do.
We saw an ad for Debt Fix Pros. We called, and they showed us how fast they could get us out of debt.
It really was amazing, and now we're back in control.
Call now, and we'll show you how easy it is to fix your debt. The call and consultation are free. Call Debt Fix Pros right now at 800-576-7278. That's 800-576-7278. 800-576-7278.
After a storm, portable generators are a helpful temporary solution until power can be restored. Remember, 20-20-20 to keep safe while using a generator. Keep your generator 20 feet away from your house. Wait 20 minutes for the generator to cool down before refueling. Purchase a $20 carbon monoxide detector to protect you and your family. For more tips on hurricane safety, check out the Hurricane Guide at floridadisaster.org/guide. This message is sponsored by the Florida Division of Emergency Management, the Florida Association of Broadcasters, and this radio station.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Gotta like this quote. I do. Indiana's coach, Curt Cignetti, is terse, often. His demeanor, odd. The furrowed brow is the part that makes you wonder. But he was asked basically whether or not he's had any fun at all during this run that Indiana's on and being part of and the engineer of Indiana's historic rise. And he says he is. Not in front of the camera all that often, but he says he is. Specifically, I like this at a joint press conference with Dan Lanning. He says, there are a lot of times that I'm happy. I just don't show that I'm happy. If I'm going to ask my players to play the first game, first play, to say play number 150 the exact same way, regardless of competitive circumstances, score, time, then I can't be seen on the sideline high-fiving people and celebrating. Or what's going to happen, right? What's the effect going to be? That's why I am the way I am during the games. I do smile. I am happy at times. But we move on to the next play. That's the right way. I agree. I understand it anyhow. How about that? I don't know that I could be that way. You got to be who you are. If that's who you are, fine.
You stay locked in. You're always thinking about the next task.
I will say when I'm up 31-3 against Alabama in the fourth quarter and I'm shoving it up their ass by running the ball 15 plays in a row, I might smile.
He did in his own way. They gave him enough close-ups, that's for sure.
Oh,
there are a couple moments.
It gets old.
Yes, and they're super, super close-ups. But there are a couple moments where you see in his language, he's smirking. He's like, yep, this is history right here. I'm making history in this moment. I could do nothing more, and people are going to remember this game and this Rose Bowl forever. Mm-hmm. And he's right.
Yeah, it was funny. He goes on to say, I'll smile and celebrate later in the coach's room with my other coaches, maybe even have some beers. Oh, man, you're making me like you. He's going to pull a Spurrier.
Yeah, Oregon's a good team. Be favored by a couple points, probably. They're a good team. They're going to give us a good test.
Oh, that was the best.
They had to pull that from their site. Like, who greenlit it? That's what I want to know. Who watched it? Said, oh, this is awesome. Play, public.
The quickest way that we saw somebody be able to, deflect a potential problem. This is one of those PR masterpieces that you and I talked about in the Jeff Cameron Show PR firm. Like, sometimes you could just own it because the thing that people are all up in arms about is not something that anybody who's reasonable is up in arms about. So you could just be like, yeah. And that's what he did. Basically, when pressed on it, he's like, I had a couple beers. I often have a couple beers before we do the coach's show or after a big win, something like that. And that's all that was. Now, what are you going to do? You going to get mad at him? You going to be up in arms because coach had a couple beers after a win?
Would you not have beers after you
won a football game?
Engineered a game plan against a more talented opponent and beat them by 10 points?
Yeah, it was just funny because he didn't try to lie. That's where you get in trouble. He didn't try to manipulate this. He just I had a couple beers after the game with the guys and probably shouldn't have done the coach's show when I did, but I've been known to have a couple beers with the coaches after wins. And everybody went, well.
He was really good at that.
That's it. We're done here.
When he decided to give you a reason and losing press conferences, he was brilliant. I didn't do a good enough job preparing him. Obviously, we didn't play well enough, but that's on us, the coaches. I didn't do a good enough job, so it's on me. Perfect.
Well, that's the end of it.
Yeah, right. So why do you think you weren't able to run the ball? Well, I just didn't do a good enough job. I need to be better.
Yeah, because he doesn't have to get – that's a way of giving you a good answer, a fair answer, a real answer, I suppose, without having to engage you in football talk. He doesn't have to actually tell you anything about how they failed to be able to block, the nose guard. We knew he was good, and I worried about it all week long, and we tried a lot of different things, but he's better than our guys. You don't have to get into that. You don't have to do that. You just say, I didn't prepare him well.
Yeah, Coach, why did you go for it on the fourth down there? I thought that was the best decision for us at the time. But like I said, I didn't prepare us well enough for it. It all falls back on me. I mean, we are in, we are out. It is 5 minutes.
It's time to go home.
It's my fault, guys. It's my fault.
He's on the way to have his beer.
That's right.
That's the end of that.
You hear that after? Anything else, guys? Okay.
And in the end, I gave it earlier today, but here you are. We'll go back over them one last time since a lot of you ask. I've got the over in tonight's Miami Ole Miss game at 51.5. I think it has since moved to 52.5, and I have to tell you, that number matters. I got it at 51.5. I don't know that I'd play it at 52.5. I'm a discerning bettor. That feels a bit like a key number. I could explain that. Most of you see that it's self-explanatory. Wild card weekend, 4-bet parlay. You get it for plus 944. At least I did this morning. Travis Etienne over 63.5 yards rushing. Justin Herbert over 25 yards rushing. A.J. Brown over 65 yards receiving. Jordan Love over 1.5 passing touchdowns. Plus 944. That's a parlay. 4-better. Let's make it happen. Let's cash them chips, baby. New England minus 3.5. The more this goes on, the more the week has gone on, the more I think about that game. I think New England's going to beat the Chargers' ass. Here's the problem. That means I'm going to lose that bet.
The path to you losing the bet is both
Oh, they muck it up.
Yes, they do. And they
scared you.
Low possession games because they both want to run the ball. So one turnover here, one field goal instead of a touchdown there in the red zone.
Oh,
and
sure.
It's
24-21, and I'm losing the bet.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, no.
Even though New England was in control the whole way.
Whole way. Yeah. No, I get how it can happen. And I know that it is gambling. And it is the NFL. And Harbaugh frequently finds ways to muck up games where you're like, this is ridiculous. Why are they in this game? Their offensive line is a travesty. He's running for his life. But it's 17-6 late in the third, and they recover a fumble on the 40. You're like, they're going to score. We're in a game. We've got a game. This is ridiculous. Woo! I got to jump back in. Didn't see that it happened. I will do it now. Stuckey, what % extra money out of our rev cap will we have to pay this year just to retain the roster as opposed to what we could have spent on needed players? Worth the annual cost not to fire Mike Norvell? That, my friend, is the question. Stuckey, quality question. So this is another one of those non-cut and dry, nuanced discussions.
It's hard to answer because some numbers are floated around, others are more tight-lipped.
Well, I have said, and I will say, a few things about the question regarding money. I don't know, to Tom's point, the exact amount of money in terms of the percentage of the revenue share that we have to pay the roster, to pay for football. Now, you can take 100% of your revenue share and spend it on football. Nobody does, including us, because it's for all of the different sports. But I do know if we're not number one in percentage of the rev share money that we attribute to football in the football roster, we're in the top 5. Meaning the percentage of money we take from rev share that is spent on football is in the top 5. There are schools, much bigger names than us, that don't even do that.
Yeah, because their NIL game and philosophy is
correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Mm-hmm. So the vast majority of the rev share money is being spent on football. That I know for a fact. Now, how much of that specifically is spent on roster retention? That is to say, Ashlyn Barker, Jabril Waralls, the effort to bring back the Desir twins. I don't know.
Well, I think there's also a nuance to that question, which is how much would they have been comped if there was a new coach in here versus how much were they comped because Mike stayed and the suck tax is at play here? You know, because that adds up. Every 100,000, every 150,000 extra that you might have paid a Rawls or somebody and again, that's not the real number, but those things add up to $1 million, $2 million at some point where you're going to have to convince guys to stay by giving them bumps. And certainly that number would increase by a lot if the Desirs say yes, because their number's going way up if they say yes.
But I would also tell you that the other thing that's not factored in there, and it's very hard to discern, is what would you. So you're going to have the outgoing money would have been the 13 or 14 million next year that you would have had to give the outgoing coach for that single year. what in the way of new car smell and buzz would you have gotten with a new coach?
Yeah.
And the removal of the perception of suck and the suck tax.
Right. The new coach discount versus the suck tax. Yeah. It's hard to quantify exactly, but it's not nothing. It's a good question because it is significant.
It's a great question. Noel Kev, Atlanta message boards all say Harbaugh is choice 1, Clint Kubiak choice 2, Saleh head coach, McDaniel as OC is choice 3. We have nice roster. Have to figure out a quarterback. Didn't like Penix's pick when we did it. And Cousins' age. You start Cousins next year. No questions asked. It's an easy one. He played well when he wasn't hurt. That's another year in which you don't have to pay off the rest of that ridiculous contract, and then you're out from under it, and you probably are going to be in a position where you're going to have to draft another quarterback soon because I think Penix has knees of a 75-year-old man.
Saleh McDaniel's pretty good.
Not
actually.
bad.
I like that.
Lewis, appreciate you all. Love the show. Small request. Can you all start posting hour 3 for members at least? Thanks again. We do need to start posting hour 3. I don't know how that works.
For the members, I like that idea because often it's not tied to Florida State. And so that's a good idea, though, because if we tie it to members, then
people can still get it on the pod.
Yeah,
right?
100%. Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we should post it on the YouTube as well.
That's a good suggestion. We'll figure out a way.
Great job, Lewis. Way to come through in the clutch. That's it. That's all. Be good, everybody. Peace.
I'm Shannon Young with Cross Country Mortgage.